and the Wichita lineman is still on the line.
There's Glenn Campbell on WFUV, one of my all-time tracks. We'll call it a Desert Island tune, 1968. That is Wichita Lineman. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds before that, from a record that'll be due out at the end of August, that one called Wild God. Hopefully, Nick has been pretty good about touring the last couple years and hitting New York City for some extended runs. Hopefully, he will be bringing the whole gang for this record. This has been Ben Jones hanging out with you on a Saturday night. I want to leave you with a very cool track that was, we had the WFUV Bash at the City Winery last Friday, and Billy Allen and the Pollies truly blew everyone away. Most people showed up to this event not knowing who this band was, and they left singing along with almost every single song. A band out of Mobile, Alabama, sort of a conglomerate of two different projects. They've got a new record out now called Black Noise. Billy Allen and the Pollies. This is I Thought You Wanted Him. Catch you guys tomorrow.
Every day I'm getting higher every day. Hard to satisfy me. The taste of you still lingers. I can't stop calling your name. Each week is the same old thing, either in my head or in my bed. Always in my head and in my bed. I thought you wanted him. You wanted him. Even when I was young, you always seemed to chase something new. I thought you wanted him. Yeah. I thought you wanted him. But you always end up come on the wire, walking that line, just doing my time, and my friends come around me. I only find myself wanting you. I can't stop calling your name. Every week it's the same damn thing. Oh, you're in my head, you're in my bed. Always in my head or in my bed. I thought you wanted him. I thought you wanted him. Even when I was young, you always seemed to chase something new.
It's WFUV New York, public media from Fordham University. Come for the music and stay for the community. Listen at 90.7 FM or at WFUV.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very, very special edition of One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. If you're listening, I usually have to say if you're listening on YouTube, 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., but we're actually live on the radio right now, so if you're hearing my voice, we are live, which is incredibly exciting. It is, of course, our annual senior show. This is the last show before graduation, so everyone you see tonight on air is a senior graduating on the 18th. So I'm Julia Moss, joined with Colin Lochran and Brian Raybacks to start out the show. We'll be cycling throughout the 3 hours, talking about different things. But before I get into anything else, I want to ask you guys, what are your overall thoughts? It's the last show.
Well, Julia, Brian, great to be with you. Obviously, a bittersweet show. I have a feeling that's a word that's going to get thrown around an awful lot tonight. But really, it is bittersweet because when you spend so much time doing something and putting so much effort into something, you just know that a show like this is a culmination of all that time you spent here at FUV working so hard towards different goals. So excited to break it down with everyone in the back, behind, in the studio. It's going to be an exciting show.
It's kind of crazy because we were talking before the air, but has it hit us yet? And honestly, the few minutes before the show, it's kind of hitting me now. So you think that all the shows that we have done in the past, all the shows that and the hours that we've devoted here, this is the last time we're going to be live on air in this studio. It's a weird, somber feeling, but listen, it's going to be a great show. It's always a really nice way to send off the seniors that have given a lot to this station and have made some great contributions. So we have a great rotating cast that we'll get in here as the show goes on, but yeah, it's exciting, and yeah, bittersweet's a word that we're going to hear a lot tonight, but I'm looking forward to it.
Listen, I intentionally wasn't going to be the first to say it because I know I'm going to be saying it a lot, the word bittersweet, as the show progresses.
Let's get a counter for how many times the word bittersweet is said.
Exactly. But you mentioned something I think is really important, Brian, is that our senior class this year has just been absolutely incredible from start to finish. And that's why I think this show is going to be so good for a lot of reasons. But one, because every single person in the senior class has given something incredible to WFUV, and that's what makes this station so fun, because I can look at each and every single person and see their journey through FUV. And I know I speak for everyone, and I'm sure people will touch on this throughout the show, but when you look at who you were when you first joined FUV and who you are right now doing this show, the growth from everyone has been incredible. I know myself included.
Well, I think to your point, the people make the place, and that's especially true as it pertains to FUV. Obviously, in our studio right now, you have wonderful radio producers, wonderful video producers, great broadcasters for a variety of sports, excellent beat reporters. You just think of the amount of people that we had in this class and the contributions they gave. It really is incredible to think about, considering all that talent emanates from one place here at FUV. It's been a tradition for decades. It's not going to stop anytime soon, but 2024 is certainly a special class.
It's kind of crazy seeing how WFUV has really just been a launching pad and how it's been able to grow over the last couple of years, where, there might have been years past where there was a small senior crew, and I remember we've been talking with people in the back how small FUV used to be, and now you see how many people are being able to be involved and get the opportunity, and how many people excel as well. You mentioned it, Colin, whether it's broadcasting, whether it's producing, beat reporting, there's so many opportunities, hosting. There's so many great ways that seniors have the ability, not just seniors, but everybody has the chance to contribute. And so I think that tonight you'll see highlight packages as the show kind of goes on. Everyone kind of gets their few minutes to showcase what they've done. So I'm really excited for those to kind of go back down memory lane as someone that's been here since freshman year. I was finding some highlights of me from my early days, and it's kind of crazy, jarring to look back on it. So it's going to be a lot of reflection. It's going to be a lot of just kind of gauging what FUV means to everybody, and we'll get into all that later, but it's a 3-hour show. We got a lot to get into.
And Julia, not to cut in too much here, but you have to remember this is the class of 2024.
It is.
All these students, or the vast majority of these students, came in either during COVID or briefly thereafter. Think about the immense change that FUV underwent during that time.
Yeah.
Seeing YouTube come into play, TikTok coming to play, all these other things, Instagram as well. That was not something that was common before our time here. It was just starting to really rear its head 2019, 2020. I would say the class of 2024 was instrumental in really forming a social media presence that's to be reckoned with. Twitter as well, X as it's known now.
Yeah, I think that's another huge thing about WFUV too, is that it will always change with times to put students who want to work in sports media in the best position they can to get a job after graduation. So social media becomes a huge part of sports media, it becomes a huge part of journalism. What does WFUV do? We invest a lot of time into our Twitter, our YouTube, our TikTok now. So that's been something that's been awesome to see, kind of like the digitalization. I don't think that's a word I've ever said actually out loud, but that of WFUV throughout the years. And that's been, I joined FUV in 2021. So right as that was kind of, kicking off, the first year of our YouTube page, or consistent use of our YouTube page. But I want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about the two of you, because I think your perspectives really are really interesting when you think about what FUV can do for people, because we've all broadcasted teams, we've broadcasted different teams, and we've all beat reported different teams. So I want to ask you guys, Brian, you can start first. What is that experience? We'll start with broadcasting, just the unique experience of being able to travel with the team, just, immerse yourself in broadcasting for a specific team.
It was a really cool experience. So I got to do football full time in the fall with Lou right back there. Shout out to my guy. So it was really fun, just number one, traveling with the team and obviously a colleague who you can call a friend. So that was really fun. And just being able to be in the repetition of it, you get to learn so much. You get to learn what certain guys mean to the locker room, and even building a relationship with coaches on the staff and just members of the team as well. Getting to talk to Coach Conlon every week was a fun experience. I'm sure that you guys can both relate to that as well with Coach B, and of course Ergo, who's a delight all the time. So it was a really fun experience, and definitely one of the highlights of my FUV tenure, getting to do football in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely second that from a basketball perspective. Obviously, I spent a vast majority of the time this past winter calling basketball games, being a color analyst, along with Miles Grossman and Chris Persiane, and both of whom I can call friends as well. They were great all along the way. And when you have that kind of camaraderie, it makes the work that much easier, because then if you're on the road, you can bounce things off each other. I can't tell you how many conversations I would have with someone like Miles or Chris about, well, does this sound better? Or what should I be looking for in this or that or XYZ? And you don't get that many places. I mean, say what you will about Syracuse, but here at FUV, you can kind of be your own type of broadcaster. And when you form a camaraderie with someone like a Lou, or in my case with Chris and Miles, it makes the work that much better, because then it's coming from this place of purity, in the sense of you're trying to do the best work possible.
Yeah, and that's something that's so unique about FUV too, is getting to travel with teams. Not only do you get to get the real life broadcaster kind of lifestyle that I know the people who are, hoping to continue that after graduation already have a taste of, but you also get so close with the broadcasters that you're with, because you're in an unfamiliar place. The only person you knew beforehand is the person you're broadcasting a game with. So it's a really unique experience. And I know someone who did a majority of the women's basketball games as a color analyst, being able to travel with people like Nick Guzman, Lou Orlando, Chris Carino, the names go on and on. It's such a fun experience. And then also, speaking on fun experience, beat reporting. That is something that no other college does to the level that we do. And that is cover every New York professional sports team. As we're in the same room as the New York Post guys and the New York Times people. It is such an incredible experience. And Brian, you've done the New York Yankees, Colin, you've done the Knicks and the Rangers and Yankees and Mets. You've kind of
bounced around over there,
yeah.
huh?
You got a taste of everything for sure. So I want to ask, before we send this to break, what is, that experience been like for you?
Well, I remember when I initially became the Rangers beat reporter in 2021, first one was at the Garden, my jaw dropped, just because I couldn't believe that A, I was there, and that B, you're in the same room with the New York Rangers.
The access
head
we get
coach,
is absurd. It's awesome. It's
the
incredible.
writers, and if you're a nerd about sports the way a lot of us are, including myself, you're like, oh, that's so-and-so. He writes for the Post, or she writes for the Daily News, this, that, the other thing. It was just such a cool experience, and definitely formative in terms of how you begin to think about your own content and ways that you can improve your own content. I'm sure you had a similar experience with Yankees, Brian.
It's such a great resource for young, up-and-coming people within the industry to be able to be in the same room as people that have done the job for years and years and years. It's a great way to go up and approach somebody and get some advice, or even just firsthand learning, seeing how they conduct themselves and how they do their work. I certainly got a taste of that doing the Yankees for 2 years, and it's just a really incredible experience. I'm sure I'll be able to touch on it a lot more later, because getting that opportunity, beat reporting for the Yankees as a lifelong Yankee fan, was a dream come true and a true highlight here at WFUV for me.
100%. And before we send it to break, I want to remind everyone we are live on the radio. So if you are listening right now, please call in. The number is 718-817-2750. We're about to talk a lot of sports with a lot of incredible seniors. We want to hear what you have to say. We're going to quickly run through the rundown of the show. After this break, we're going to talk some New York Mets. Maddie Bamonte, Brian Raybacks, and myself will be on that segment. Then we're going to go into some NHL playoffs with Michael Matuch, Maddie Bamonte, and Bridge Gotham. Then into some NBA playoffs with Miles Grossman, Chris Persianen, and Colin Lochran, who have been incredible beat reporters this year. Then we're moving over to soccer. Andy Rodriguez and Chris Shepard will have you covered there. Some Yankees talks. Brian Raybacks will be back once again with Andrew Canary, Ralph Barbieri, talking some WNBA after with myself, Miles Grossman, and Chris Persianen. And then we're going to cycle through everyone and get some last reactions before we wrap up this show. So you will not want to miss a single segment in this 3-hour show. So stick around. We will be right back with more one-on-one.
Have made a really strong start, Maddie. 2-0. How much stock do you actually put in this, though? Like, genuinely,
I mean,
how
listen,
much does this mean to you?
This means a lot.
honest.
This means a lot. Be honest. This means a lot, Sam.
Okay.
As a new baseball girl,
I'm a baseball girl. What can I say?
this is a lot. Okay. So my problem is I do March Madness every year. My bracket is always made with such care 10 minutes before it's due. And then I find out every single year that my bracket gets busted, and I don't know what to do about it.
Crazy.
And I'm very upset about it. My both men and women's bracket not doing so hot. So while the games have been enjoyable and there have been multiple upsets and there's been some great storylines this year, my bracket's not doing too hot. And so I have a couple gripes to pick with some of these 1-seed teams who were supposed to take it this year and then don't. I think, and this goes to your point of why Chick Hicks should not be in the Hall of Fame, is because our esteemed interviewee today said one thing in particular related to PD, that there's a lot of character that goes into deciding this. And I don't think that Chick Hicks has the character worthy of being in the Hall of Fame as maybe a Doc or even a future Lightning or even a Dynaco down the line.
Everybody, Brian Raybacks here. You're a Tampa native, and you ended up finishing your career with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time, and you have your number retired there as well. Just how much of an honor is it to make an impact on that team and to have your legacy there? Ryan, I think I speak for Will and myself that it's an honor to have you on the air here on One-on-One today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys.
Well, I gotta tip my hat to Dave Gettleman a little bit. This was a big concern coming into the offseason, what they were going to do with Leonard Williams.
Alan Lazard, their previous top receiver, he's now a New York Jet because that's where Aaron Rodgers is going. So I think it's a weird situation the Packers are in, and they're trying their best. Aaron Judge had just about done it all in his big league career, but even with the home runs he's known to hit, he had never in his career had a 3-home run game. Well, that was until tonight.
Because I'm a Cars aficionado, so I know what the Cars they based
I didn't
on.
know this. You never said this before.
Yeah. Oh, very funny, Brian. Very funny.
Keep
You're a
going.
real comedian today.
Johnson down the field. He's able to break away just enough, maybe a little bit of a push off in the end zone, but he's able to get enough separation to make the catch. It was all Anthony Johnson on that drive, so fitting that he caps it off with a touchdown. For WFUV Sports, I'm Brian Raybacks.
Welcome back to the One-on-One Senior Show. I am Maddie Bamonte, joined today with Brian Raybacks, Julia Moss, and we're talking Mets. Because thank goodness today I was a pessimist on nosebleeds this week. for good reason. We almost saw a no-hitter today, but
Not if the Mets had anything to say
not
about it.
2 out, bottom of the 9th, home run to make sure that didn't happen. So first off, let's just say our piece on how thankful we are for this to happen for us.
Well, I'm thankful that the Mets avoided a no-hitter, not only against the Atlanta Braves. I mean, how could you let that happen? But in the City Connects as well. Listen, you got to show those off. You got to play your best brand of baseball in those. And listen, it got dicey towards the end, but the Mets have a moral victory. They can hang their hat on that. But yeah, we were talking on Nosebleeds the other day if Christian Scott was going to be able to get any support from his offense because he didn't get that in the Trop, and he did not get that again today. Tough one, similar to Jacob deGrom. You feel for the guy.
Listen, I have made the mistake this entire season of living and dying with each individual game. Was today fun baseball to watch? No, not even close. But the Mets have played fun baseball this year. They're floating around 500 compared to the 0-5 start that they came off to. Like, this isn't terrible. I'm happy it wasn't a no-hitter because that would have made, the group chats, the Mets group chats I'm in, just like there's nothing worse than Mets fans.
Mets Twitter would have had a good time with that.
Exactly. And Ryan Gregoire was at this game for some reason. I still haven't figured out why he was at a Mets game, but
he gets around.
I think this happened because he was there, and he is one of the biggest Yankees fans, probably besides the other person that's in this room besides me and Maddie, Brian Raybacks. So I'm going to blame this not on the Mets, but I'm actually going to spin zone this into blaming this on Ryan Gregoire.
And you know what? I think that's fair at the end of the day. Can't be a Mets fan's fault. I do want to turn this over real quick. As we mentioned, we are live on the air. If you want to call in and give us your takes, the number is 718-817-2750. And we actually have a couple of callers right on the line right now. Some of our good friends, alumni of the station as well. Taylor Macetta, Sam Bohr, how are you guys doing today?
You knew the show had to start with us.
Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Listen, I'm glad you guys decided to call in. It's, always fun to hear your voices. I actually saw Sam today, so that was exciting. What do you guys? Taylor, Taylor, you graduated today.
Today's
Congrats,
a big day.
Taylor.
Oh, yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. I'm a master's degree.
Love that.
Love that. Not everybody has one of those, so that's something to hang your hat on. Congratulations,
Congratulations. So,
thanks, guys.
What do you got for us?
What do you got for us today?
Well, I'm going to start off real quick by just saying to the three of you, I am so unbelievably proud of all the work you guys have done. I'm always tuning in from Syracuse, New York, and just seeing my friends flourish is just honestly something that honestly just makes me so emotional. And you guys have just been incredible friends to me. Julia, I could always count on you texting me some sort of women's basketball tweet or something. We could talk about Caitlin Clark all day, and obviously, Maddie, Brian, we've been in this since the A team. Sam too. It's just been such a long ride for all of us, and to see you guys kind of wrapping up. The next couple steps in your journey are just ahead. Hey, I'm there right now, and you guys should be just so excited. I'm so proud of you guys, and so excited to see what comes next. I was literally getting emotional watching the highlight reels beforehand, and. But yeah, that's what I just got to say, and I really hope you guys have a great rest of your show.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thanks, Taylor.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My cat is screaming. I'm sorry.
Yeah, does Kronk want to say something?
Kronk,
yeah, get him on the phone.
Get him on the mic.
That's what we wanted. Yeah,
he's here. He'll say something when he feels ready. When his time is right. But to the three of you, like Taylor said, I'm so proud of all three of you. We all joined the station at the same time in the same year, and to see, where you all are and to see what has happened in this time professionally and personally for all three of you is just so incredible, and it warms my heart. And, Julia, I remember when we first joined, you were first just talking about maybe being interested in doing color or in doing those kinds of things for basketball, and then you rocked it, and you just kicked major butt doing that, and I look up to you so much, and I admire you for everything you did there and for all of your knowledge. And Brian and Maddie, you two have been there for me literally since the A team when we were becoming friends over the Doug Eater and the Peacocks in March Madness. And thank you for being there for me no matter what, and for supporting me, and for being the kindest friends as well as colleagues that I could have ever asked for. You know, they say college is where you find your people, and without WFUV and without you guys, I definitely wouldn't have had the same experience I had. So, and it's bright on the other side. Don't worry, graduation is just the beginning, and being an adult is really fun. Yay, but I'm so
Right?
proud of all of you, and I love you all so dearly.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, you're going to make me cry. I'm not even a senior.
You guys are the best.
I believe Sam was the only person to cry last year.
That's
Really?
true.
She's
Wow.
a legend.
Hey,
No,
I
a
was growing
legend.
up virtually.
Love it.
You know what, Julia? I think you might be right, but it's just
It was iconic.
because
It was iconic.
It's just because I'm filled with love. I appreciate you remembering that, actually. Aw. I'm dead, but I'm so proud of you guys. I don't want to take up too
Thank
much
you.
time, but yeah, love you guys.
Love
so
you guys
proud.
so
Taylor,
much.
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Love you as well, Taylor, and I'm so proud of you too.
I love you, Sam. I'll see you soon.
Oh my
Whoa,
God.
guys, this is not your
This
show.
has gone off the
This is not
rails.
your show. Like,
All right, we're gonna go before we'll go. But have a great rest of the show, you guys.
Thank
all
you
right.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
So the Mets.
The Mets. Oh,
By the way, I've received intel from an inside source that Ryan Gregoire received the tickets from Sam Davis.
Oh.
So he had a connection
Okay, all right. That makes sense. Sam Davis, a Mets fan.
from a trusted source.
Mets
I was
reporter.
I was able to get that.
That's
yeah,
true.
that is true.
This is why we have the insiders
Hey.
on the show.
Mets reporter.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
you know how it is.
covering my first Mets game on Monday.
Whoa,
That's
I didn't know
huge.
that.
Oh, this is actually a fun story. When I first joined the station, not to bring Ryan back into this again, this is not his segment, but he asked me, one of my first times meeting him, he asked me to name 10 baseball players, past or present. I could name 6, and that was it.
Okay.
Past, like 6 all time.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at me. I'm about to cover baseball as a reporter, and I can confidently say I can name at least 10
Do you
baseball
remember?
players.
Do you remember the 6 that you named?
They were so random. It was like Justin Verlander, Matt Carpenter.
Matt Carpenter.
Like,
hey, that's
I
a
had
Yankee.
some weird like 2014 names in there that like I don't even remember who they were because again my baseball knowledge has since expanded vastly. So like I'm proud.
I think
of
that's
that.
better though that you named randos rather than like
Yeah.
just the random list rather than do kind of like everybody.
Like, I didn't know who like Juan Soto was.
Whoa, well, now we know.
No,
Now we
well,
know.
well,
Now
now
we
we know
know, yeah.
exactly who Juan Soto is, and
Unfortunately.
he's not going to be a Met next year.
No,
To be determined.
you know, it's whatever, man.
Whatever,
Mets.
man.
Whatever. The Mets. Okay, let's bring this back to today's game in particular because we were talking a little bit about it. Christian Scott obviously playing a big role in this series to step up with the starting rotation kind of taking hits injury-wise. So that's been rough. And I was going into this and I wasn't expecting too much out of him. I knew what we were kind of getting, especially after seeing the Quintana start. That was just not fun to watch him give up the 3 home runs. And the best part was I was listening to this back after is the SNY broadcast was like, I think it was Gary that said just before he was like, oh, all 3 guys, they've been in kind of a home run drought. Hello?
Right.
Immediately following, they all hit home runs.
Hey,
Broadcaster's
that's baseball.
curse, yeah.
I just want to say before we get into it, I believe my mom is on the line. So,
It's a delay.
Mom, Dad, if you or whoever's there, if you guys can hear me, I believe you're on the air. So, please, hello, welcome to the show.
Oh, Brian, is this live right now?
This is live. Yes, on the air. Hello.
Okay. Oh, hello. Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations to all the seniors. It's just so awesome to be a part of the show and listen to you guys and see all your accomplishments.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, we're glad to have you here. This is a real treat, and thank you for calling in. You guys are my biggest supporters. I mean, back from the days of on Zoom where you would throw up like the YouTube videos on the TV. It's always been great. You guys have always been supportive. So for that, I thank you, and thank you for the call.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, that was great to hear, especially because your mom so close to Mother's Day now with being tomorrow.
Mother's Day is actually like
And
25
30
minutes away
wow.
or something.
That's
My
cra-
math is wrong, but
36 minutes is close.
Well, I suppose my mother is probably there, but my dad is on the line. Dad,
Here we go.
Dad, I heard you just talked Lou's ear off back there. I hope we're gonna stick to the script today. I know we have a lot to talk about, but you're live on the air. What are you gonna talk about today with us?
I can't wait for this.
What am I going to talk about? Oh God, that would take forever. I just want to share some thoughts.
Brief.
I love and enjoy watching this program. I think when you guys graduate, you ought to make every effort to have reunions and get together as often as you can. You're a great group of individuals, and you're also tutored by a terrific sports content director, Bobby Ciafiardini. Congratulations to every one of you.
Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it. I know you didn't call in for the hockey segment, and I hate to jump ship, but how about that Canes win?
Well, I tell you what, the agony is going to continue, but I got to predict that when it's all done, the New York Rangers are gonna take the series.
Dad, what the heck? Anyway, thanks for calling in. Tell Mom happy Mother's Day for me.
Will do.
All right, love you.
Bye.
I'm actually shocked.
That's a great call right
Listen,
there.
I didn't want to derail from the baseball, but this man has been in my ear all week long
Just
about
chirping.
this Rangers-Canes series, and to what I thought was a loyal Hurricanes fan has been swayed otherwise, and so I had to get that in there, But all right, let's get back on track.
You said the word agony in there, and you know what? Is that apropos for the Mets almost with the history of the franchise?
You were talking about how there is bright spots with this team in what was a very dark
Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than 0-5.
And
like
0-6, I guess would be worse, but
a bad 0-5 too.
yeah, it was ugly baseball.
Ugly baseball.
But
to
no,
say the
it's not
least.
as ugly. I know it's weird to say that after a near no-hitter, but if we're looking at the full season as a product so far, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an up and down kind of road for me, and I was being called I couldn't be pessimistic the other day. Look at what I was pessimistic about. It worked out in the end. But before I can get more pessimistic, we actually have more callers on the line.
More callers.
The entire house of Lorillard 2421
no.
is on the line. Hey guys, how are you doing tonight?
Hey.
Hi guys.
We want to say how proud of you we are.
Thanks.
Maddie, talk about Juan Soto right now.
We're not doing the Yankees segment. Call later.
I know it's the Mets segment, but
Juani
I
baseball.
heard really good.
Yeah, Juani baseball, huh?
Juani baseball. I think that's a really good. I think it's very John Sterling-esque of you guys to call him Juani baseball for your last show. Brian and Juliana, or Brian, oh my God, Brian and Maddie.
There we go.
We're so proud of you guys. So love you guys so much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you guys.
That
Thank you
means
for
a
calling.
lot. Thank you for calling.
Oh, thank you. Of course. Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I don't know if we still have, if we're taking up too much of your time, but I just wanted to say, Maddie, I'm so happy to have gotten so close to you this year. And Brian, I'm so happy to have gotten close to you through our dear mutual friend, Juliana. And I know you're not talking about the Yankees, but Maddie, I know how much of a Mets fan you are, and I just wanted to ask how it feels for them to have such a rough record this year.
Ooh.
Sydney, how do you think I feel?
On that, Maddie.
You know what, guys? You'll see me later. We'll talk about this later. We got to move on. Thank you guys for calling. I really appreciate it.
Long list of callers.
Long list of callers, and there will be more today. If you are interested in calling later in this show, the number again is 718-817-2750. We will be back after a quick little break to talk some NHL. I will be back because I'm happy that the Hurricanes won. See you after this.
Guys, dab me up, dude. Dab me up. Yeah. Alvarez is hitting better with runners in scoring position than with no one else on. So it's showing that these guys can step up to the plate and get guys in, get guys home because, in my opinion, the most important stat in baseball is RBIs, who you can get in. But in the past, you talked about being in the right place at the right time and getting pucks with the rebound. How'd that culminate tonight? I totally agree with you. Just that idea of, the biggest moment and that camera angle of you in your radio booth, just going absolutely crazy as they clinch. Was that your idea for the camera? Because that video went so viral and it was so great. A bit hairy. Flyers were really into it in that second period, but thing is, Devils kept their foot on the gas and they prevailed. Nico Dawes, although he let up 3, he still had a great game all around. Lots of shots that the Flyers were putting on him, and he was able to step up in some big moments. Thank you to FUV Sports for allowing me to be here tonight. I'm Michael Matuch. I'll see you around.
Welcome back to Pick and Pod. Here today, joined for the first time with Bridge Gotham. And Bridge, you're finally getting to be on the show, and I'm so excited to have you on air today.
I can speak, I think, for the rest of you guys, but Jackson, Jimmy, Chris, I know we have Bridge, who's an up-and-comer in our program.
Joined by Bridge Gotham. We have 2 freshman hosts tonight.
We'll also be joined later by Bridge Gotham later on in the show with the headlines.
Bridge, the Islanders getting things done.
Bridge, take me through it, man. How you feeling?
I think it's a testament to how tough it really is to draft well.
Yeah.
Boone's been playing with some different lineups and different sets, and I think
it's good.
And it's good. Yeah, you like to see that. And I want to talk a little bit about, the quarterback that you protected for most of your time here, a guy in Tim DeMorat. The Warriors will beat the Celtics in 7 games. I think Stephen Curry will finally get that elusive Finals MVP that he's been lacking.
If you're a fan of soccer, you loved what you saw today. A lot of kicking.
Obviously, Nick is a big Fordham guy. You spend time together living as roommates. I'd love to hear about what it's like to live with him.
Yeah, obviously Nick's awesome.
Probably the worst loss of the season for the Giants. Giving $104 million to a player who has not made an all-star team yet.
They clinched the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Here with WFAN's Paul Dottino. We heard from Mahomes, we heard from Kelsey, the big names. The Yankees walk it off against the Detroit Tigers tonight.
I can't see RJ Barrett as the guy taking the last shot in the NBA Finals. Are the Nuggets the next big dynasty? I think that's the big question people are asking.
Here at FedEx Field on the road, reporting for WFUV Sports.
But with 2 months to go, I would feel strongly that he's going to hit 60.
Talk to me about how you sort of navigated the different ups and downs of sort of a bit of a chaotic season.
You do not want to see him in another uniform. God forbid a Mets uniform.
Reporting here in Miami, Florida for WFUV Sports at Hard Rock Stadium.
The NFL, it stands for not for long. That's always what they say.
Banner day for Daniel Jones. 2 passing touchdowns in the first half, 2 running touchdowns in the second half.
And they left the door open for Tommy Cutlets.
For WFUV Sports, I'm Bridge Gotham.
And welcome back to One on One Senior Show. Here we are talking NHL playoffs. I'm Michael Matuch, joined by hockey aficionados, Maddie and Bridge. And Maddie, I want to give you your props as the Hurricanes fan here. I found this broom head on the way in. And I just wanna let you do with this whatever you can, because
I don't even want to touch it.
It's because
you can put that away.
It's gone.
You can put that away.
We're bringing out the props. I love it.
Oh my gosh. The Rangers do not pull off the sweep tonight as the Hurricanes prevail 4-2-3. And it's cool to see it happen.
Listen,
for Maddie's sake.
The Rangers were in the eye of the storm tonight, as they would say. The Hurricanes were causing some chaos. You know what? And after watching a double overtime loss and then another overtime loss, I needed something here because it was really looking rough for me. And credit to the Rangers, they've played excellent. But man, has this been really tough to watch so far?
Oh man, did those Rangers really? Carolina almost blew that. That was close to the end. Carolina got that last goal with what? How many seconds? How many minutes was left?
Maybe a minute 30, 2 minutes.
It was a little close. Rangers almost got you there, Maddie. But
first power play goal of the series took forever.
It took way too long. I'd say this is probably the most evenly matched, lopsided series I've ever watched because you see every game in this series almost go to overtime. I mean, game 1, Rangers control it, but the Canes come and they get an empty netter, and the Rangers barely hold on to win that one. You talk about game 2 going to double overtime. I think everyone was holding their breath because talk about a Carolina Hurricanes team that basically doesn't lose at home. So if they steal one at the Garden, they go back to Raleigh feeling real good. The Rangers survive, and then they go down to Raleigh, and you think that Carolina's going to rally, and it goes to overtime. The Rangers almost won in regulation, and then Panarin through the legs. Are you kidding me? I mean, they've controlled the puck so well. They've controlled the power play. You talk about a Carolina team that did not convert on a power play until tonight. And this is a New York Rangers team that's special, but they were underdogs to this Carolina Hurricanes team coming into the series, which hard to believe. I mean, it was close, but they were underdogs going into the series. They've been underdogs in every single game in this series, and they almost won every single game in this series. I do think it'll end in 5, but credit to the Canes for getting it done at home.
I believe we have someone special on the line. My partner in crime, my Islanders beat reporter, aficionado Nick Palmer. Nick Palmer, can you hear us?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Nick, we are doing great. Maddie's has a sigh of relief.
Nick, I know you were waiting to get on the line tonight to say something mean, but you have to wait another day for my funeral. I hope you're happy.
Absolutely, and Mike, first of all, the broom prop, absolutely brilliant. But I do want to talk about this Hurricanes and Rangers game because I watched it. And yes, the Carolina Hurricanes did win, but I think the New York Rangers are absolutely taking this in 5. I don't think it's even a contest. This Rangers team is so much more complete. You mentioned the fact that the Hurricanes finally scratched something together on the power play. But you know what we need to talk about? Freddie Anderson looked absolutely abysmal tonight. Freddie Anderson was not himself, and I think that in one more game, Igor is absolutely going to shut this guy down. I don't think that he has what it takes. This Rangers team is too talented. They are too suffocating, and this Hurricane style of dump it in and get a pass in front just isn't going to work against a solid Rangers defense and Igor being Igor. So, Maddie, congrats on the win tonight, and I like the little rally and Raleigh thing, but it's over, buddy. It's over.
Listen, you know what? And I will say this. I think that Shesterkin has been so incredible this year. Like, literally, there is not a shot he can't save at this point. It really, and the problem is the Hurricanes are not taking the opportunity to actually do something different. They're instead, 90% of the time, they're shooting right at him, and he's going to stop it every single time. It's no contest. Other thing the Carolina Hurricanes are doing that's really frustrating is I've never seen a team worse at clearing the puck than them. I swear. They cannot
get it out.
They can't get it out for the life of them, and it's killing them on the turnovers. And I'm just like honestly, I don't want to say I agree that it's going to be over soon. It's not. I don't want it to be over soon because we're having a lot of fun talking about it. But it's really been rough, I think, for this team to be so touted going into this, and you're seeing just a crumbling from the inside out from this team, losing the fundamentals, and it just doesn't compare at this point.
Nick, guess what? Nick, try to cut you off.
Just before I go, I just want to first of all say how incredibly proud I am of all of you guys, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this. But Maddie, 4 teams have completed comebacks from 3-0. Okay, 4 teams. The 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs, the 2010 Philadelphia Flyers, and then the other 2 teams, coincidentally, are the 1975 New York Islanders and the 2014 Los Angeles Kings. Just to say that this is very unlikely, but Maddie, again, it's certainly possible, and all of you guys did a fantastic job this year. Mike, I had a great time beat reporting with you. Bridge, you're so solid and such a great guy.
Thanks, Nick.
And Maddie, you are just a champion of sports talk, and I'm very lucky to call you all my friends. So well done, you guys, this year. Well-deserved pat on the back, and you're all going on to some great things.
Thanks, Nick.
Nick.
Gonna miss
Nick,
you, man.
thank you. We love you so much. I hear that one of my roommates, Chance, is also calling in. Is that what I've heard? Chance, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
Chance,
can hear
Chance.
you.
We hear you, dude. We hear you. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, Michael, first we just want to say we're all gathered around here. We just want to say how proud we are of you for everything you've done on the radio.
I think this is the first show you guys have tuned in for, but yeah, thank you.
And the last. We just want to say, we cooked up this Would You Rather because you love Would You Rather. Would you rather fight Rempe or be on the Sabres? And this should give you a chance to just talk about the Sabres in general. Thank you, Michael.
I feel like if I join the Sabres organization at any point, then I will curse them for a generation, and they actually won't make the playoffs in my lifetime, and they'll collapse. Chance, thank you so much for your call. I feel like I would die if Matt Rempe touched me.
Yeah, me too.
That's what happened. I hear we also have a caller from Saskatchewan. Is that true? Is there a caller from Saskatchewan on the line?
Hey, this is Oliver from Saskatchewan. I just I think that guy you called before, that Nick Palmer guy, I think he doesn't really know what he's talking about. I think these Canes, I think they're in a position to take the momentum and.
Ben, your
you know,
accent's
3-1
way
lead.
worse than mine, dude. Ben, Mr.
It's a
Oppenheimer,
got you on.
Ben Opp, what are
Big
you
Rough
doing here,
Riders guy,
buddy?
CFL.
How did you know it was me? How did you know that?
Ben, I had no idea.
Yeah, we were.
I just thought it was a guy.
I think your text saying that you were going to call in kind of threw me off, but.
No, it's funny because when I called in, I told Lou, like, oh, yeah, it's Oliver from Saskatchewan. He just said, okay, cool. Like, I thought I tricked him, but I guess not. But I do honestly think, I think that the Canes, you know, they've got spunk to them. You know, I'm not the hockey aficionado that you three are, but, you know, and I'm an Islanders fan. I'm a tortured Islanders fan, but I do think the Canes are not dead yet, even though you guys are so down on them right now. And I'll tell you what, I think, you know, my uncle, who's a hockey expert,
Ben?
he says the Rangers are really weak when it comes to five-on-five play. So I think when they reach the Stanley Cup Finals, I think the Avalanche are going to be a matchup nightmare for them. What do you think?
Ben, that's a take. I think you should stop talking to your uncle and just sort of leave it at that. He has some ideas, but I don't know if they're good ideas. But
okay, all right. Well,
Ben,
what? I'll just go straight to the sentimental aspect of this. You know, you three are just excellent in everything you do on air, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know you all three this year, and it's really it's sad for me to see you guys go. I feel like it's cut too short, but you know, I feel like, you know, all three of you are going to be excellent in the industry, and you know, Maddie, you know, I can see you in the booth next to Gary, Keith, and Ron in like 5 years, and you know, Mando or Bridge, as most people like to call him. I call him Mando. But Mando, I think, you know, you're just a solid, dependable guy, and you're just well liked by everyone. And you know, I think the ability for you to just be the guy that everyone can go to as a person they depend on, that's going to lead you to opportunities. Particularly, maybe we'll see you with the Giants as you know, their main beat reporter or whatever. But you know, and Mike, it's
Thanks, man.
What can I say? You know, you took me in as a friend. You know, I roomed with Christian last year, and you know, I knew you de facto through him, and you know, I really can't thank you enough, Mike, for everything, for being my friend, and you know, thank you.
Ben,
I
love you, Ben. We all love you. Thank you so much for calling in. We know your hockey knowledge is off the charts, so we love you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Love you, Ben. I'll see you soon.
Okay.
We love Ben so much. I don't know if he can name more than 4 Islanders players in history, but
big Islanders guy.
I love him.
Big
I love him,
Islanders
guy.
and we love him for that.
Yes.
Hopping back to the teams in question.
Right.
I don't, Maddie. I don't know if it'll be tough to get to 7 games. It'll be really tough.
I like, I'm gonna sit here and I'm
They
gonna
had
say
22
and I'm
giveaways
gonna say,
today.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Is
There's
like
a path though. I would be scared if the Canes take Game 5 and you go back to Raleigh for Game 6. That's a whole different series. I'm not saying it's still not in the Rangers' favor, but like, don't let it go back to Raleigh for Game 6, because at that point it could come back to New York for 7. And I know they still have home ice, but I'm just saying. Close it in 5 if you're the Rangers.
They really gotta shape up quick. Like, there's a lot of stuff they gotta fix.
But they've been doing a lot of things the right way. They've been out shooting the Rangers.
Today.
In general.
Well, they outshot them last game, and
right.
But the problem
I'm saying
is
they're keeping the pressure on, despite that. So I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
it's not like the Rangers have dominated. The Rangers have won very, very close games. This is an evenly matched series. Now the Rangers, yes, they're doing the little things right and getting the edge, but do not count out this Hurricanes team. That's why when we were watching, I was like, just like. The broom. I wish the broom we could have.
I would have been sweeping.
The same
this
thing
thing.
I was saying with the Knicks, like, steal Game 3. Like, I don't want to have to worry about it, because there's always, look, the New York teams, man. Something about it. I feel like we're cursed sometimes.
What do you think Rob Brindamore has to do with this team? What would he say? Do you think he would have said the "we weren't swept" quote if they were swept tonight?
God, I wish. And you know what? I asked before the show if that was to happen, that we could have played the clip.
Yep.
Obviously didn't happen. We lived to see another day, but man, was that quote great.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be doing it for our NHL segment today. Once again, I'm Michael Matouche, joined by Maddie Belmonte and Bridge Gotham. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back shortly with NBA playoff talk. Don't go away.
And I'd give up forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your life. And sooner or later it's over, I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, all the moment of truth in your lies, when everything feels like the movies.
Reported that they're hiring Jalen Brunson's father, Rick, as an assistant coach. I have to ask, with Jalen entering free agency, should Knicks fans feel somewhat more confident about potentially having him come to the Big Apple?
Let's see if they can have one more great win in Game 7. No quit in New York.
Along with Dan Bartels, Brian Raybacks, and Lou Orlando, I'm Colin Loughran. Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland, officially Hall of Famers. The festivities and the induction have officially concluded here in Cooperstown. The New York Knicks bested the Philadelphia 76ers 104-101 in a truly gritty game that saw Dante DiVincenzo nail a three that gave the Knicks an edge with just 13 seconds left on the clock. It's evident that some dude named Hartenstein has embraced the sort of next man up mentality that can make all the difference in a playoff race. For WFUV Sports, I'm Colin Loughran.
It's about midnight on a Saturday night, and we are talking some NBA. Welcome back here on One live from the Bronx. I'm Miles Grossman, alongside two basketball minds who I have a lot of respect for, Chris Persianen and Colin Loughran. And guys, a couple games happened today, a couple interesting ones. Hobbled Doncic, and the Mavs also beat OKC to take that 2-1 lead. We'll get into that in just a little bit. The final score there, 105-101, and that is a 1 seed in the West, down 2-1, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Also, Doncic battling some injuries. The Celtics-Cavs wrapped up, and I mean, I don't have a lot of trust in the Celtics moving forward, but this Cavs team is playing Tristan Thompson in valuable minutes. They're also playing Sam Merrill in valuable minutes.
That's real hoops.
And I think that says enough about their second unit in itself. I don't think we need to talk about that. But we got two Knicks minds here, so we're going to get into some Knicks. But first, I do want to start out west with Doncic, the Mavs, and OKC. 105-101, the final score this afternoon. And the Mavericks all of a sudden have a lead. I mean, it's pretty shocking, Chris. In my mind, Luka Doncic has been a bit of a defensive liability just because he's a tad slow all year, but now he's got the ankle, he's got the knee. I'll get a little bit more specific. He sprained his knee in Game 3 of the first round versus the Clippers, and then on Thursday's OKC Game 2, he got tangled up with the rookie Cason Wallace, and he tweaked the ankle. So now he's really banged up. He's extra slow. And, Chris, I don't know if you got a chance to see the game today, but Luka Doncic is a defensive liability, and OKC is yet to capitalize.
Yeah, Miles. I mean, before the series started, right here on
Pick and Pod in this studio, I said, OKC's great, but sometimes you need to fail on national television and get embarrassed, you know? And you're seeing a team that throughout the season in OKC, like, they didn't have a go-to style of play. It's really just, we're going to out-talent you. We're better than you think. We're going to out-talent you. Shea is going to close us out. Chet's going to anchor us. J-Dub is a top 40 player, even if you don't know his name, you know? And for what it's worth, I had Mavericks in 6 because I think this Thunder team, when it comes down to it, their style of play they lean back on is just not as good as Luka Doncic is, especially Kyrie Irving. A lot of experience being a number 2 to a heliocentric lead option. LeBron, now Luka. It's a great fit.
And Colin, I want to get your take on this series out west, but first on the line, we got a legend around these parts, Ryan Guegware. Ryan, we're talking NBA playoffs. What you got for us?
What up, Ryan Guegware?
Guys, first off, I'm also with Sam Davis, another legend of the game, Marty Glickman winner.
2023 Glickman Award winner. How are you, Sam?
Yes. So it's the two of us here. We just wanted to call because, first off, we are so proud of you guys.
Oh, that's
Obviously, we graduated last year,
Really?
and we
They
could
let you
not
guys-
be more happy about the state that you guys left the station and carried yourself. Chris, also, shout out the Iris, carrying on the legacy. That's how I had my mix. So I know you texted me to listen to it. I did. And so we're just so proud, and we wanted to call and let you guys know that.
We appreciate you, Ryan. Oh, there you go, Sam. My bad.
Yeah, no, all good, Miles, man. Same here. I mean, you guys, we've been watching and we've been listening, and you guys have absolutely carried on the legacy. We're so proud of you guys, man. I mean, WFUV is a special community. It's a special night to have your senior night here and have your final show at FUV. So cherish it, enjoy it, enjoy the last couple weeks at Fordham because they go by quick. And this whole year has gone by quick since we've gone, but we are so proud of you guys because you guys really have carried on that legacy that I know you guys are going to continue to pass on to the next generation. So shout out you guys. You guys killed it, had an awesome year. And, yeah, you guys are awesome.
Well, thank
also,
you
one
so
last
much.
thing
Yeah.
really quick. I think Colin Loughran has the all-time record for one-on-ones because that guy has been on the show every other
Kyle
week
Rose of the program.
for 3 years now. So he deserves his love, too, because he's been killing it. And the three of you, truly phenomenal. We're so proud.
Thank
and
you.
One more
yes.
shout out, Miles. I'm cutting you off again. I'm sorry. You know, we don't get enough time on the WFUV airwaves anymore, so we have to hog it up. But the first thing I want to one more shout out to Julia Moss back there producing. We wanted to call in during her segment as well. Absolute awesome. She's done a tremendous job all year long, and just shout out her. She's done an awesome job.
Well, I appreciate you guys for calling and all of your shout-outs. And thank you for showing us the ropes. You guys were true legends around these parts. So much fun, and we wish you the best moving forward. We got another caller, another FUV Fordham alum from the Bob Aarons era, believe it or not, Rafiq. He's been a part of a couple viral Asia Wilson moments in my mind. That's what I know him best for. But, Rafiq, what you got for us? It's NBA playoffs.
Hey, I got a lot. Thank you guys for inviting me on the show. Congratulations to Chris and Miles and Julia. When I watch you guys cover some of the same sports I cover, whether it's the WNBA or college basketball, I knew you guys had a promising future. And I just want to say congratulations for finally making it to the final few weeks at Fordham University senior year. 2 weeks from now, it's time for you to put on the cap and gown and cross the stage and solidify yourself as a WHAV alum.
I appreciate that, Rafiq.
Thank you, Rafiq.
And, it's fun. Always a good time seeing you around WNBA press boxes, et cetera, et cetera. But it is our NBA playoff segment. I'm wondering what you got on your mind.
What I got on my mind is, of course the Boston Celtics is going to eventually get at least one game in Cleveland because they're number one seed. And I kind of alluded to somebody earlier this week that even though they did lose games, they're going to bounce back and steamroll the way towards getting at least one road win before sending the Cleveland Cavaliers. So pretty much the same way they did against the Miami Heat. Do good ball movement, knocking down three-pointers, and making sure that the opposing team's defense is more passive. Or even when they're not passive, they just end up catching them napping on the defensive end. And also, the Dallas Mavericks getting the win get a 2-1 lead against OKC. It's no surprise. The Mavericks are clearly the more experienced team, and this OKC Thunder team outside Gildas Alexandra, they made the playoffs before. So, yeah, it's pretty much all I got. And I got my Knicks going up 3-1 tomorrow.
Well, Rafiq, we thank you for your call. And Miles, just to get back to your original question regarding the West, I knew you were going to go out West first. I had to make this joke one last time. This man with his L.A. West Coast bias, I care more about the East, of course, being here from New York. I think I can speak for KP on that one as well. But in speaking about the Mavericks and the Clippers, doesn't it just feel like that team is waiting to lose in the Western Conference Finals against either the Nuggets or the Timberwolves? I mean, that series has been one of titans between Jokic and Anthony Edwards. It's no telling what Anthony Edwards' ceiling is. So for me, the series between the Clippers and Mavericks, one of them had to win convincingly to sell me on the idea that either one of them could have taken out Joker and company.
Yeah, I think there's a lot on the line there, but unfortunately we got another caller, a cousin of mine. I think it's my cousin Justin out west, if I'm not mistaken. That'd be the cousin who would call. But Justin, you are live on 90.7 FM.
Thanks for having me.
It's not my real cousin. God, there's no way. You really tricked Julia.
I don't know how I did it. I got past like the Roman gates. I'm like the barbarian getting past the gates. I'm like the first disguise I used to call in when Matuch was on the show. I was like, oh, it's Oliver from Saskatchewan.
I really thought it was my cousin, bro.
yeah. So I had to change accents twice. So
Dude,
I'm
you're
glad
unreal. You are unbelievable.
No, that's you guys. You know, that's why I wanted to call in. It's just you guys are truly, just you personify excellence and class, and it's been an honor to get to know the three of you. Truly, I mean that from the heart. You know, all three of you.
Likewise, Oliver.
I loved. Thank you. I loved hearing all of you on the broadcast this year for men's and for women's, because Chris, I know you did some women's games. Colin, you as well, and I also was proud to have studio hosted and done updates for a bunch of those games. And it's just you guys are going to go on and be superstars. I know that, and I actually. I also want to talk about Knicks with you guys, if that's okay. I want to ask a question.
Please.
Bring it on.
So I want to know, do you guys think that they still have a chance in this series without OG? Because I am not optimistic at all with the loss of Anunoby. I'm not. I don't think he's going to come back for, honestly, any game this series, even if it goes to 7. And even though they really showed grit, I'm not sure if they can, just hold on without OG. What do you guys think?
I mean, listen, this is a team that's now in their, they're down to 6 rotation guys, and they're playing, their third string center. They're starting him. That's where the Knicks are at. They're starting their third string center at power forward. That's where the New York Knicks are at. The thing, though, is the mentality that's gotten them to this point, and I bet Colin can attest to this, is next man up. So no matter what, Randall out for half the season, Robinson out for half the season, Anunoby out for half the time he was with the team. 50 wins. Why? Next man up. Now I know we're on the next man up with Bogdanovich, Randall, Robinson, and now Anunoby out. 4 major losses, and all coming in the front court, right? But it's the mentality that this Knicks team has, that they don't quit. They don't complain about the referees after the game. They don't say that the market bias is the reason they won or lost a game. You saw even the Pacers players trying to be more mature than the coach.
And before we pivot off that point, though, Chris, it has to be acknowledged that some of these New York Knicks calls throughout the first 2 weeks of the playoffs, unbelievable. In my mind, the most egregious was Game 2 against Philadelphia, right? Do we remember this whole sequence? Tyrese Maxey avoids the foul.
No. You're referring to when Dante DiVincenzo heroically won the game for the New York Knicks of Manhattan fame.
What about
How could we not?
When Embiid pulled Mitchell Robinson down to the ground?
That should have been an injection. Yeah. But all I'm saying is,
how about when he kneed Hartenstein, where you don't like to get kneed?
True. That's true. But
it goes both ways.
How about
there's
Rick
no
Carlisle
way that you
about
could
calls?
say.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm sorry, but we got another caller on the line. Max, it is NBA playoff talk. What you got for us?
I first wanted to just mention how proud we are of you guys. I mean, inspired to see you guys work, and I'm very excited to see the future. And I know Barrett wants to say something real quick as well, but we're definitely going to ask some questions after, but he just wants to say something.
I mean, I would first just like to shout out Julia, Bridge, Chris, Miles, Colin, and everyone else, all the seniors, just for all the leadership and the great stuff that they've shown to the WFUV throughout the year, and just all the work they put in throughout their careers here.
Thank you.
I'll throw it back to Max, though, to throw at the question.
Let's get the playoffs here. I'm a Suns fan here, right? And Anthony Edwards, seeing him be so excellent on the court, couldn't even be upset. Unbelievable. Love everything he's doing for the sport. Love the future that we see. I just want to know, after these playoffs, right, depending on how far he goes, he may go to the finals. He may lose this round. We don't know. But do you think that he's going to stay with the Wolves? Do you think he's going to find somewhere else to go and find somewhere where he believes he can actually win a championship if he doesn't win here?
And just to jump in on top of that, Anthony Edwards may be Michael Jordan's son, but how much better do you think the Knicks would be if Alfred Sengun was their center instead of Miles Robinson? Miles Robinson
Mitchell.
is terrible. He's horrible. Alfred Sengun is basically Jokic
lost?
better. So how much better do you think the
He's
Knicks
talking
would
about
be
Miles
if they had
Robinson?
Alfred Sengun
That's
as
not a
their
real
center?
person. It's Babel. He's better than saying.
Anyway, what I do like about your question is the point about Anthony Edwards. Is he going to be a career guy in Minnesota? Because if he does,
Why
he
not?
is etched in franchise history.
What is
I
this,
mean,
first
he could
take?
be.
We're 2 years into the guy's rookie contract, and we're talking about if he's going to go eat tacos with LeBron on Tuesdays in L.A. Like, I mean, come on. They went and they spent 5 first-round picks on Rudy Gobert. They have talent in-house. They retained Jaden McDaniels. They retained Naz Reid. They extended both. This is creating a situation where there isn't one.
Well,
right?
also, if you're him, why would you want to go team up with LeBron or somebody else? Anthony
You wouldn't.
Edwards is his own show. He's a tank. That kid's elite. He's going to be elite for years to come. He could lead his own team to a championship. This is a new era. That Steph, LeBron, KD era is behind us. And I'm saying this, of course, on the senior show, which makes me choke up just a little bit because those are the guys we all grew up watching. It is a new era of basketball, of course, and Anthony Edwards leading the charge.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards, of course, already signed to that 5-year, $204 million deal. But it does seem like he's headed for that trajectory, right? That one-of-a-kind player where he's in that territory of LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, where one-of-one superstar that we haven't seen in the last 5 years. I'd say as far back to the Steph Curry era with the Warriors.
So I love Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards is one of the faces of the league. Who else that has never been to a conference finals do we talk about like this? You know what I mean? Like, the cart is 4 miles ahead of the horse. You know what I'm saying? Like, Edwards is going to be great. Maybe they'll make the NBA finals this year. Maybe he'll win finals MVP. Can we have this conversation then?
Yeah, I hear that. But we are midway through the NBA playoffs, guys.
Happy Mother's Day, by the way, too.
We are across the midnight hour, so special Happy Mother's Day to my mom. I'm sure she'll watch this probably tomorrow, but Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. But Colin, before we pivot
Thanks, Mom.
and
Love
get
you.
away from the NBA tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern in Indiana, that Sunday matchup. Any predictions for us for your New York Knicks?
I have looked at this Knicks team so many ways throughout this playoff run, and ultimately how I feel about them is the following statement. The most dangerous dog is a wounded dog that was the runt of the litter to begin with and had a scrap for everything. This was never a Knicks team that was going to be feared in the Eastern Conference with the likes of the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, even the Philadelphia 76ers. They were the runt of the litter. Now they're wounded. They already had a scrap to get to the second seed in the East. Some would say they even had a scrap to become a top 4 team, period, point blank, with Julius Randle. Remember, that original team had Emmanuel Quickley, R.J. Barrett. It wasn't until after they got OG that people are talking about, can they take out a team like the Bucks? Can they compete with a Boston? So on top of that mentality, which comes directly from Tom Thibodeau, they get hurt. You lose Randle. You lose Mitchell Robinson. You lose OG Anunoby for some time. Now, if Anunoby comes back, that's a big boost. Even without him, though, tomorrow, I could very well see the Knicks getting a win, going up 3-1 in the series, because they're the most dangerous team in this playoff, simply because they've had to scrap for everything. And now they're wounded, and it's only going to make them want it that much more.
I like that, Colin. But we are past the midnight hour here. Happy Sunday morning. But a quick break here on 90.7 FM. When we come back, soccer talk with my guys Andy Rodriguez and Chris Shepard.
Happy.
You're listening to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show on 90.7 FM, WFUV.org, and WFUVSports.org.
Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. I am Andy Rodriguez, joined here by the one and only Chris Shepard, and we're here to talk about the best sport in the world, the beautiful game, depending where you're from, soccer or football. And Chris, I believe this is your one-on-one debut, man. Talk to me.
I'm really excited to be here. First one, last one, best one. Want to go out with a bang. Obviously, talking with one of my favorite people to talk footy with.
Oh, thank you.
So it's going to be a great segment.
Oh, for sure. I mean, what an exciting week with those semifinals. Well, maybe not so great for you. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. Unfortunately, you are going to definitely pile on to me with all your power of friendship talk and Carlo Ancelotti raising his eyebrows. But, yeah, ultimately, tough loss as a Bayern Munich fan. We played our game. We did what we had to do. We clogged the wings. We made sure that, yes, Madrid would get their shots, but they were longer shots that ultimately wouldn't worry Neuer. And when they did worry Neuer was like vintage 2014 Manuel Neuer. It was an incredible goalkeeping performance. But then let's go to the 88th minute where
everything goes wrong.
Everything went wrong. First, let's talk about the Neuer mistake. I can't really fault him for that because obviously, you know, as a big goalkeeper, you obviously want to make that kind of catch as an easy routine catch, but something must have gone on in his mind. Maybe it's the voodoo magic of the Santiago Bernabeu.
It's that stadium.
But overall,
man.
Yes, it's that stadium, and you know, until that moment, yes, he is doing a vintage performance, but then in the 88th minute, obviously, a whole an unfortunate series of events befell Bayern Munich. But ultimately,
it's not unfortunate if you're me.
Madrid
fan here.
Yes, you can go on about all that. But ultimately, as a Bayern Munich fan, I feel like this game they should hold their heads high. Though I think this was a good effort by them. Obviously, Alphonso Davies. Hopefully, he doesn't go to Real Madrid. I'm glad that he scored that goal, and he had a great performance, obviously. But let's look at a couple of the issues that Bayern had in the latter stages of this game.
Because they had a lot.
They had a lot, yes. Yes, they did have a lot. Let's start with Tuchel's decision to take off 3 key offensive players, Kane, Sané, and Musiala.
He went to park the bus.
Yes, he went to park the bus with Kim Min-jae. And, yeah, ultimately, though, I feel like he could have at least kept Kane on. Obviously, Sané and Musiala were injured, but you got to keep Kane on. I mean, the man has never won a trophy. This is the closest he's ever been to going to a Champions League final. Yes, he went to a Champions League final with Spurs, but Bayern
he's a jinx, man.
Going to go trophyless because of this.
Yeah, the Harry Kane curse.
It's a jinx.
It's alive and well, and you know, maybe we'll have some thoughts from a caller we just got.
Oh, really?
One of our FUVFC colleagues, the one and only James Burley. James, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Truth be told, I'm on my way home from beat reporting at Red Bull Arena. Just a great performance from the Red Bulls, 3 points. But I do want to talk Champions League with you guys because I know we've got a Real fan and a Bayern fan. I know you already talked about some of the controversy there. But I just want to know, Andy, are you okay with the fact that the refs just love Real and give you guys all these
Whoa, I have no idea what you're talking about. James, you cannot say that. VAR did its job.
The VAR did its job, and this is why it's a two-parter. This other part's for Chris. What was Tuchel thinking, just giving Real all those chances in the last 25, 30 minutes? I mean,
James, you know me, man.
I've been knew they were going to score.
I've been a Tuchel detractor all along. Yes, in the Champions League, he was doing a fantastic job playing Tuchel ball like he always does. But ultimately, I honestly don't know what he was thinking. Yes, Sané and Musiala were injured. They obviously weren't 100%, and I know that you might want to preserve them for a possible final. But at least leave Kane on. I mean, it's just incredible to behold. I mean, and then obviously you talked about the VAR decisions. I just want to talk about the drastic amount of time. if you're gonna give that amount of time for a Champions League game, you have to make sure every decision you make concerning the game is looked at and monitored very closely, because ultimately you don't want to overlook anything in this game. And I think that Szymon Marciniak, the ref for that game, did overlook that last goal. Ultimately, I'm just like befuddled at what went down. But ultimately, thank you so much, James, for the call-in. And obviously, I respect you a lot for what you've done for FUVFC. And it's just great talking with you always, man.
Well, thanks, Chris. Well, listen, guys, the real reason I wanted to call in was not to get you guys to bicker at each other over the Champions League semifinal, but to let you know that I loved every second we had on FUVFC together. Chris, having you this year was such a pleasure. Andy, on and off the podcast with your schedule this year, I really missed you sometimes when you were there. I think you were the prediction king for a reason, man. Your ball knowledge is off the charts. Loved having both you guys. We're going to sorely miss you at FUVFC next year. And, hey, don't be afraid to call back in like I'm doing now when we're on the air. So you guys are two great inspirations for me, and I just really appreciated y'all and wanted to let you know that on the air on the senior show.
Oh, we appreciate that so much, James. Thank you so much for calling. You're the inspiration for us, man. You're doing great, and I know you'll keep doing great things. But let's get back to this Champions League. James did bring up a good point with the controversy at the end. And I will say, even as a Madrid fan, I was confused by the fact the ref didn't actually check Bayern's goal at the end. I have a couple things to say, though. One, when the whistle was blown, Madrid's defenders fully stopped. So if they do continue, the goal may not even ever happen. That's one. Two, you were already past whatever the ref added by 5 minutes. So no excuses there. And three, looking at it closer after, it did kind of look offside anyways. I'll admit it was pretty close, but yeah, I understand the frustration for sure if I'm a Bayern fan. I can concede that.
The ref added that extra time at the end because he had money in his pocket from whoever the president of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez.
What are you talking about? At that point, at the 90th minute, Madrid was ahead already. He added all that time and let them play longer, trying to give Bayern a chance.
But then he should have checked the Bayern goal. He should have evened it out when he went to VAR for the Joselu winner, but he didn't go to VAR for the De Ligt goal. Yes, the player stopped, and potentially Lunin would have saved it had, the play gone on and continued. But ultimately, I feel like if you're a referee in that moment, in the Champions League semifinal, potentially deciding whether or not a game goes to extra time, in which...
Yeah. I get it. At that stage, the world's largest stage, right before the final, one of the biggest games of the year, definitely shameful. I disagree completely with the play being stopped. I think it should have continued. But I don't think it would have changed the result, as I said. I think if the play continues, I don't think they score because the Madrid defenders were on point. And if they do, if it goes to extra time, I see Madrid still having the mental edge because they're just used to that toughness.
I actually do think so as well.
Also with the subs.
With the subs, yeah. You expect Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, even though he was a Stoke legend, he can't do it on a warm night in the Santiago Bernabeu, let alone a cold, windy day in Stoke. So, I mean, yeah, I do feel like Real Madrid at that moment in time had all the momentum. But just check, just to make sure. That's what VAR is for. I know people always criticize VAR for getting certain things wrong because it's the human element of the game. But that was what it was implemented for, to make sure that certain decisions don't get overlooked. And ultimately, I do think that influence did get overlooked that night.
That's understandable. But until then, you can cry for another season until you wait for your team to win a trophy.
Guess I have to wait for Florian Wirtz.
But we did have another semifinal, which is pretty big upset. I mean, they've been upsetting all the odds year long in the Champions League. Borussia Dortmund making the final.
Shout out to
they
the
were
Yellow
in the
Wall.
group of death. Everyone thought they were going to be the last one in the group with, I think it was Newcastle, Milan, and PSG. They get first, go through, they beat Atletico, and they beat PSG. To be fair, though, that last game, the second leg, crazy, wild. How many posts did PSG hit in that game?
Yeah. Seeing all the memes of all the Kylian Mbappe hitting the post is just crazy. But shout out to Borussia Dortmund. I, as a Bayern fan, obviously respect them a lot. What they bring to the rivalry, the stadium, one of the best stadiums in the world. Their fans just go crazy for them all the time. But I just want to shout out a player who I've come to respect for his storied career, both with Bayern and at Dortmund, Mats Hummels, man.
Oh,
What
I
a
thought you were going to
player.
go for Marco Reus.
Marco
Threw me
Reus.
off.
Marco Reus, we'll get to in a second. Ultimately, Mats Hummels, what a performance he is.
MVP, both of the
MVP,
legs.
yes,
yeah.
both of the legs.
And
Incredible performer.
just insane from Dortmund, beating the odds every time. It's a team that I've liked for a long time, probably because of Marco Reus. I'm a big Marco Reus fan, and I did get the chance to go to Dortmund Stadium back in 2023 spring. It was Haaland, Reus, and Bellingham in the team at the time.
Bellingham.
Crazy, because maybe it was 2022, because Bellingham wasn't even known yet. All the attention was in Haaland. So, yeah, wild. I can say the atmosphere there is insane, and I'll say this as we start to look at the final. I'm a Madrid fan, obviously. I won the 15th. But if they do lose, this is the best case scenario for me.
Not for me.
Where, like, as a sports fan, I would love to see Marco Reus get a trophy with Dortmund before he leaves, because it's his last season.
Yeah, absolutely. I do feel like going and looking ahead to that final, Real Madrid obviously has the upper hand. They have the experience, they have the power of friendship, they have Carlo Ancelotti's eyebrow.
Oh, the eyebrow.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
for
have
sure.
the eyebrow raise. They have that voodoo magic. Obviously, they're not going to be playing at the Bernabeu, where Vardrid might create some controversy.
Yeah, but we're at Wembley, and
Yeah,
you
they
know
are
who's
at
English?
Wembley.
Belly goal.
They are, and
Come
belly
on,
goal
man.
is English, but still, I feel like they will be the favorites going in. Ultimately, I think that they will win. But what a storied career Marco Reus has had. Ultimately, I can't necessarily root for him as a Bayern fan, but looking ahead to a potential Real Madrid Bayer Leverkusen UEFA Super Cup, imagine the amount of extra time goals. Florian Wirtz is going to score an equalizer in the 90th plus 26
That would
minute.
be insane,
That would be
because
insane.
both of these teams refuse to lose. Both of them have
refuse to
something
lose.
with, as soon as it hits 90, they're like, all right, game on. This is when we go.
Yes.
And
Something about the voodoo magic in both those stadiums. Shout out Bayer Leverkusen. I know I'm a Bayern fan, and I've been absolutely piled on this entire segment, but ultimately, I have to shout out these two German teams. The Bundesliga often is called the Farmers League.
It is.
Of the big. It's not. Ligue 1 is literally a league
Oh,
that
that's
is
the
named
worst one.
after a food service
Uber
company.
Eats.
Uber Eats Ligue 1. I mean, come on. Come on. Like, you can't call the Bundesliga a Farmers League after this. After all the accomplishments and achievements that this league has had over the years. Bayer Leverkusen ending Bayern Munich's 11-win run. I know I'm rambling on about the Bundesliga. Like, people are like, what's going on?
Yeah, no one really.
We're-
All we
we're
know is that
America.
Bayern choked.
No, we didn't
Leverkusen's
choke.
winning.
We didn't choke. We were robbed.
I wouldn't
We were
say
robbed.
that. I just think Leverkusen had a crazy season.
Leverkusen did have a crazy season, and ultimately, I think that they deserve all the plaudits coming their way. Fantastically built team. Also, it's very well structured. All the players in that squad are highly unselfish. Obviously, Florian Wirtz is like centered as the star of the team, but ultimately, all these players like Jeremy Frimpong, Edmund Tapsoba in that back line, Piero and Capie, this has just been like
Yeah.
an incredible team. And
Definitely an insane team with a crazy season.
Crazy
and,
season.
you know, it's been a crazy week. It's a great time to be a sports fan, seeing Leverkusen do all that. Madrid and Dortmund lining up for the final. No one could have predicted that. And it'll be a great final as they'll face off June 1st at Wembley Stadium, 3 p.m. Well, that'll just about do it for Chris and I, because we're going on a break, guys. But be sure to keep listening, because we have more of those highlights coming in. And I believe the next highlights are actually the one and only Andy Rodriguez himself. So if you want to watch the best compilation, stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Less than 2 minutes to go. Here the Fordham Rams attacking now. Looking for space, maybe for a shot. Now here comes the pass. Shot from a long way out, and it goes off the crossbar and into the back of the net. And it's the first goal here for the Rams with 1.5 minutes left. What a strike that was. Lena Johnson decided to take it on.
Like, come on, he kept saying, the truth is the truth. The truth is that he's an egotistical, disgusting maniac who abuses his power. That's the truth. Those are the facts. I'll explain why my take was so early on, just from that first game versus Costa Rica. They only won 3-0, but what I saw was just so strong. And I look at the stats of that performance versus USA's 13-0 win. Very similar. Obviously, the goals was the difference. But I said on FUVFC, like, the performance was still good. All I need to fix is to be more clinical on goal. And if they do that, they can win the whole thing. And then they did.
Welcome back to One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. It's the senior show. I'm Brian Raybacks, joined by Andrew Canary and Ralph Barbieri. Ralph, making your one-on-one debut? Is that accurate?
That's right. That's accurate.
How are you feeling?
I feel great. First and last, but I'm happy to be
Right?
here with you guys.
No time better than now. Now, before we get into it, we do have the phone lines open, 718-817-2750. We have Juliana Ferreira on the line, who called in earlier but now is back here in this segment. Juliana, hi. How are you?
Hey, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling.
I'm just calling to say I'm so proud of you, and a shout-out to my roommate, Maddie. I see how much work you guys put into this station and how much it really has paid off. Like, you guys really do put so much into it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I do have a question for you guys.
Ooh.
Should we be concerned about Aaron Judge? I know he hasn't been up to par this season so far, so I want to know what you think about that.
Well, thank you for the call. We do appreciate it. Thank you for calling, Juliana. No, we're not concerned about Judge, especially the way he's hitting now. He's on fire. He's locked in. Aaron Judge is back.
I feel like ever since that ejection last Saturday, I feel like a switch has flipped.
That felt like the moment, right?
It really did. I mean, since then, he's batted in 6 RBIs, I think 3 home runs, and also the Astros home run,
473. Bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is dialed in, and this is what we've kind of envisioned most Yankees fans at the start of the year, where, okay, Juan Soto's here now. If Judge and him are hitting at the same time, this offense is really dangerous. And right now, it looks like we're getting towards that area, Ralph.
Right. I mean, it was definitely a concern. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But with the missed spring training, it's like, okay, he's going to get there eventually. And I mean, now he definitely is. I wouldn't worry. There was really never a doubt, all things considered. But yeah, I mean, when they're all hitting, then they put up 15 runs back to back games, basically.
That's what they're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly are capable of that when things are going right. But it has been weird. There have been some up and down moments in the season where the offense isn't clicking as well. So I think that just kind of finding consistency within the lineup is what they need. But Soto's hitting. He's hit all year. Judge is hitting now. You're seeing Stanton kind of pick it up a little bit. He had 2 homers in the last Astros series that went about 120 miles an hour. And you look at this offense, if they're able to hit, they could slug their way to the AL East title. So there's a lot of encouragement going on right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that's been the problem with past seasons with the Yankees, where they're very, very streaky at times and can't really generate the runs that they need to win crucial games and kind of build up big streaks. But if you want to talk about consistency, talk about Juan Soto. I mean, 316 average, 968 OPS, and a 2.1 WAR, which is, I think, 10th league-wide. Yeah, it's insanity.
We have more callers on the line. My mom is back. Had some tech issues, I think, in the first hour of the show, but you're back. Mom, welcome back to One-on-One. Glad you can make it back.
Thank you so much, Brian. And how's everyone doing tonight?
We're doing great. Glad to have you on. It's 12:23, so midnight. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Well, I just wanted to give a shout out to all the seniors and congratulate you on all your hard work for the past 4 years, because what a lot of people don't realize is how hard broadcasters on a college level work behind the scenes to get the shows right, to get the broadcast right, to get the stats right, and also get to classes and do your homework. So shout out to all you guys and girls who do all that. And also I wanted to give a shout out to the legendary, the GOAT of all GOATs, Rita Houston of WFUV, who was gracious enough to, greet Brian back when he was a freshman. So just shout out to Rita Houston. And I do have a question for you, Brian. I just wondered, throughout your 4 years of broadcasting, if there was one moment or one sport or one broadcast that stood out to you or was an exciting moment that, or a surprise moment? Like, what was one moment in your 4 years at FUV that kind of was a surprise or exciting for you that you weren't expecting?
That's a tough question.
It's a loaded
I know,
question.
so many, right? So many good moments.
There's so
but-
many good ones. Well, I will say I really did enjoy football this past fall and being able to share that moment with Lou Orlando, one of my closest friends, and just being able to have like homecoming games and sharing road trips together. It was really truly special. So there's been a lot of great things here at FUV. Thank you for calling, Mom. Love you. Thanks for calling. And back to the Yankees here. I mean, Juan Soto. Maybe we're not going back to the Yankees. We have Lou Orlando, New York Yankees beat reporter, on the line. Lou, welcome in.
Hey, I mean, don't sell yourself short. A fellow New York Yankee beat reporter is sitting in the A-host chair right now, man.
Hey, thanks
listen,
a lot, brother.
How about this Juan Soto? I mean, you think back at the left fielders in Yankee lore: Brett Gardner, Billy McKinney, Melky Cabrera.
Melky Cabrera.
And for Juan Soto, the way he's come into this lineup, Judge heating up, I mean, I can't think of a guy that New York fans want to embrace more. It's reaching Matt Rempe level. So it really makes you think, man. It is how awesome is Soto? I can't believe it's real.
Well, one guy has earned the love, and the other has. You just had to sneak Matt Rempe in on the call.
He's a great guy. He's a great kid.
Nah, I don't. I don't know about that, man. Keep going.
I'll keep this quick, but you famously you have never cried since infancy, so I wanted to try and give that a go. But to you and Maddie, who I mean, like I can't even put into words what you guys mean to me, other than I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for everything that
I'm
you.
I'm on the line. All I hear is the radio. I don't know if I got it.
Our friendship and you guys. I can't think of anyone I'd rather be this close with. You make me laugh every single day, and everyone keeps talking about make the most of your 4 years at college. I like to think I did that by spending every single day with you guys. So love you guys so proud of what you've accomplished, and go Matt Rempe, Rangers in 5.
The great Lou Orlando. Love you, man. Thank you for calling. You obviously a very close friend of mine, and I'll cherish the memories that we've had at FUV here forever. And yeah, he's kind of got me. He's not making me cry, but
getting close.
He's getting close. But overall, the Yankees, a weekend series against the Tampa Bay Rays right now. They've split the first 2 games. Weird lineup today. I don't know if you guys saw it. It almost felt like a punt lineup where John Birdie was in the 5-hole. Interesting day, but they will have the chance to go for the series win tomorrow. And if they could take another series against the Rays, that would be big. Big momentum going their way.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I want to say another thing that I feel like could add a lot of life to this Yankees lineup and just something good for the organization overall is the return of Jason Dominguez. He's starting his rehab assignment either Tuesday or Wednesday. So I think that he's a fantastic asset, and I'm interested to see what they do with him when he's done with this rehab assignment. Because, I mean, obviously you can stick him right into the majors again, or you can option him back down to AAA, which I've done some research, and so far he's only played 9 career games at AAA, which is really interesting. I don't know if you think that maybe he needs more experience at AAA, because he looked pretty league ready when he made his start last year.
He definitely did, and we have more callers on the line. We'll bring one in right now. If you could state your name and what you want to talk about, that would be great. Welcome to 101. What's your name, and what do you got for us?
This is Jeff. I'd like to talk about the Yankees.
What do you got? What the Yankees? What you have a?
Oh yeah. So first of all, I'd just like to congratulate you guys on a great 4 years at WFUV. I know it's a lot of work, so great job. You guys make some great content. There's a lot of great baseball content out there, especially with the Yankees. I think you guys are right in there with the greats like Jack Curry, Michael Kay, Bob Lorenz.
But yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. All the all-time greats, right on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, totally. But I do have a Yankees take.
Ooh.
Just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Give it to me.
I think the Yankees should try to bring back Domingo Germán because, the way that, our bullpen is terrible. Starters are a little banged up. Still no Cole. So I think maybe a reunion with Domingo could be in the cards if Cashman's about that.
Maybe. He did throw a perfect game. Thank you for the call. It's kind of crazy, though. You think, like, Garrett Cole hasn't been around, and the Yankees are still, like, up the top, towards the top of the AL East. I believe we have more callers waiting in the wings. I don't know if we're going to get to everybody, but we have another one on the line here. If you could state your name and join the Yankee Talk, please. We'd love it.
Yeah, this is Jake Thaw.
Oh, what's up, dude? How are you?
Hey, B, how you doing?
Good. Glad you're able to call here. I'm glad you're enjoying a night at home in the great Fairfield County area.
No, yeah, I've just been kind of sitting on my couch all night watching some Yankees highlights and Yankee replays as usual on Yes Network, and kind of want to talk to you about Nestor Cortez, kind of where you see him fitting in. Do you think he's going back to the bullpen maybe? What do you think's happening here going forward?
Well, listen, he's been kind of up and down this year, and thank you for the call, Jake. But yeah, it's interesting, Nestor. You look at Garrett Cole coming back, and you think that are they going to do a 6-man rotation? What are they going to do? Nestor's a former All-Star, but who knows what happens there? We have more callers on the line. I believe my brother is now on the line. Shane on the line here. Shane, welcome to One on One. How does it feel to be on?
Hey, Brian. First time, long time.
Oh,
big
yes.
fan. I just want to get your thoughts, kind of switching gears here. The Knicks are obviously the talk of the town right now. I'm a fan of ethical hoops. Do you think Jalen Brunson, at the end of the game, trying to draw a foul, do you think he's a pioneer of ethical hoops, or is he a foul merchant?
You know what?
I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you for the call. I mean, I wouldn't call him a pioneer of ethical hoops by any means after the last shot in the Knicks game. I mean, listen, I get he's looking for calls and whatever, and sometimes it's worked, but I mean, the last shot, it was embarrassing.
That was not the play to run for the last play of the game. I appreciated that he took accountability for it in the post game. He said it himself. He was unhappy with it. In his defense, he got hit on the arm for sure, and then I think from that he went to go up and see maybe if he got the call. But I mean, and there was way too much time left as well. That was just not the play to run there.
No, it was not. And I believe another caller is on the line here. So again, if you're on One Senior Show, state your name and join the conversation. What's up? Do we have you? You're on the air. Hello.
Hello? Hi, Bob from Houston.
Bob from Houston. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so I just want to know, like, what is your take on the fact that, the Astros might suck this year, but despite all of that, Kyle Tucker is still better than Juan Soto and anything Juan Soto could possibly hope to be. And the fact that, after all of this, the Yankees really don't have a chance in hell at being better than the Astros ever. I just want to know what your take on that is.
Who's got a take?
That's
a hot one.
I don't know. Not much you can say to that.
I mean, I could certainly jump in and I guess give my take. I mean, we can look at past seasons if we want. The Houston Astros dominance over the Yankees. But I mean, look at this season.
So we can look at this season.
Exactly. Look at the season opener. I mean, I don't want to call scoreboard into question, but I mean, I'm just saying. I think that yes, Kyle Tucker has been statistically better than Juan Soto, but I feel like just the whole organization in the Yankees. I feel like just it's been working so much differently than the Stros. I feel like they're just a step off. And yeah, I definitely do not agree with that call.
Listen, callers are giving hot takes, and we have more callers coming down the pipeline. Welcome into One on One. Please state your name, and thank you for coming on the show. Ooh. Do we have you on the line here? Welcome to One on One. Please state your name.
Hello?
Yes, we got you.
Oh, hi. Cool. My name is Dylan.
Oh.
I just want to say, Domingo Germán, that's a pretty wild take, and then the Kyle Tucker take was even more wild. I don't know what kind of people you have calling into this show.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Pretty good take. And my take is that the Yankees should absolutely sign Trevor Bauer. The man was exonerated. He's asking for the MLB minimum. Yes, the starting pitching has been good, but I see 2022 as a cautionary tale that guys could just fall off with the ebb and flow of a season, and I just don't think it would hurt to add them to the roster. So I want to hear what you guys think about that.
Listen, Dylan, the rotation that I believe you thought was going to be a disaster before the start of the season, it's held up pretty well.
In my mouth, I did not say it was going to be a disaster. I said Rodon was questionable, and you agreed with me. I never liked Stroman. You liked Stroman.
I loved Stroman, yeah.
Very early, but he's looked very good. But I do think, no matter how the rotation has been through the first month and a half of the year, I don't think it could hurt to sign a guy like Trevor Bauer. He got Me Too'd, and he didn't do anything. He did nothing wrong. He was completely exonerated. And if the Yankees don't give him a chance, I think somebody should.
All right. Well, that's an interesting way to look at things. Thank you for calling, Dylan. We appreciate the takes, but the Yankees rotation, I don't see it needing much help. And I'm sorry, but we still have more callers coming down. It's Kevin Raybacks on the line now, getting in on the fun. What's up, Kevin? What you got?
What's going on, boys?
What's going on? Join the Yanks talk. I know we've had a lot of takes with Jake, Shane, Childill getting in on the mix, but please, whatever you got.
Absolutely. Fired up to get involved. Just want to say super proud and excited. Brian, congrats on graduating and, a great 4 years here at FUV. I just would like to hear your thoughts. Brunson and the Knicks doing great things. Sturkin, Panarin, and the Rangers doing great things. But at the same time, I feel like Juan Soto has just become the stud of New York. Can you just talk about, it's not really a question, just can you talk to how much he brings to the Yankees lineup and how just great of a star he is in New York for the Yankees as they really are just trying to make a push here in the postseason and just be a great New York legend. I feel like Juan Soto's become.
He really is embodying that, right? The way that the city's embraced him, it's been awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think that Juan Soto is the type of player that really shines under the New York big lights. I mean, you want to look at other players that haven't been so successful, maybe like Joey Gallo or something like that really, kind of suffered under the pressure. I feel like Juan Soto has been backing that up with stats, but also in kind of the intangibles that we've seen day in and day out with him.
Ralph, are we in blank check territory with Juan Soto? Because I know the whole debate is, are they going to sign him long term? Are we just giving him what he wants at this point?
Without a doubt. Give him whatever he wants. I don't. If it doesn't have to be money, give him anything. Give him a house.
Just luxury items, whatever he asks for.
Give him luxury cars. I mean, please.
Because he's only 24 years old, and it's just if he's going to be in his prime for as long as he is, it'll be great.
You can't even risk losing someone like that. I mean, when you talk about meeting expectations, I mean, this guy, they brought him in, and it's just okay, you have to be an MVP. And he is.
He is every bit of that word. What a segment that was. A lot of callers wanting to get in on the New York Yankees. They're doing great. Second in the AL East right now, but Ralph and Andrew, great to share the segment with you. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back with some WNBA talk coming up next here on One on One.
Bringing it from love and money back to the Mets.
Back to the Mets.
Severino's on the bump today.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you feeling? And also, just noticed the pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, none other than fellow Fordham Ram Nick Martinez, who is an alum of our prestigious baseball team here at Fordham. How are you feeling on a confidence level with Severino going into this matchup with this Reds lineup?
Well, you really dampened my spirits, Merrick. I didn't know he was pitching, and now I think I'm going to have a brain aneurysm.
I apologize, Ben. I thought you knew.
I think I'm going to pop a blood vessel on air or something.
Speaking on playing up, I was reading an article, and it said that in your sophomore year of high school, your dad brought you up to Poughkeepsie to play in a over 30 men's league, and in your first at bat, you hit a homer.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. It was the same night, if you could remember back to, you probably weren't even born when this happened, but it was the night that Tino Martinez got drilled by Armando Benitez, and there was a huge bench clearing brawl with the Yankees and Orioles. And I just always remember that was the night that's how much of an impact that night had on me. I remember what happened that night with the Yankee game.
Within 35-34, Fordham on top with 1:10 to play in the first half. In this win-or-go-home affair on day 2 here at the Barclays Center. Medor at the top of the key, calls out the play, kicks it over to Rose. Rose, top of the circle, 13 seconds to shoot, chest pass back up top for Jaffe Medor. Getting harassed by Jackson. Medor Swings it over to Rose. Now the two-man game. Rose, right arc three. Yes! Kyle Rose, a shake of the head right at the VCU bench, and a 38-34 Fordham lead. And now with a 59-58 North Texas lead, Antrell Charlton will be the inbounder on the near sideline for Fordham. 10 seconds left in regulation. They trail by just one. Charlton into Will Richardson. He bounces it for Jaffe Medor. 7 seconds left in the game. Here's Jaffe Medor. Dribble drive the left side on Allen. He gets caught up. Looking down low for Abdul. He jams it home at the buzzer. Is the bucket good? At the moment they say it is. And the Fordham Rams 60-59 at the buzzer.
Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show, and of course, the senior show. I'm Julia Moss, joined with Miles Grossman and Chris Persiana, and we are going to talk some WNBA.
Joined by?
Whatever. What did I say?
Joined with. We've been talking about it all night. Dude, it's been a bit. Gregor started it. It'll never die. Go on.
Okay, just making sure. We're going to talk some New York Liberty. Let's go ahead and reel this back in. But first of all, I just want to say, Miles and Chris, we have been talking WNBA and women's sports together all year, and it's very bittersweet for this to be the last time on One talking WNBA. Miles, when I first started beat reporting, you were the person I was shadowing on those Liberty games, and to see how
I'm sorry to hear.
Right. To see where we are now, it's just been just so fun. And then Chris, of course, talking basketball just all the time. You're a dictionary for both men's and women's basketball. So it was awesome calling women's basketball with you this season. And yeah, I mean, let's get into it. Let's talk some New York Liberty because preseason has started. Cuts have to happen. But my first question for you guys, that first preseason game, they play the Chicago Sky.
Yeah. Do we have to talk about
We have to open it up with this.
I might rather talk about my shared time with you two in Olean, New York.
Olean, New York. Did you go on St. Bonaventure trips with both of us?
Twice.
Yeah, both women's, right?
Wow, you are a frequenter of Olean, New York.
God, I love Olean, New York.
Okay. The Liberty play this guy, and they get embarrassed.
Yeah.
50. I mean, there's like getting embarrassed, and then there's losing 101-53 in your first preseason game of the season after you just went to a WNBA Finals. But that's exactly what the Liberty did. 101-53 was the scoreline. Preseason doesn't matter in the midst of, the actual regular season. But when you lose by like nearly 50 points, I think the question has to happen of, what does this actually mean for the New York Liberty?
Yeah, I think that for sure the Chicago Sky were more motivated, and the Liberty simply did not care about the result of this one, which is kind of the only somewhat excuse you could make for this type of score. But I think regardless of, the reasoning, there's absolutely no excuse. 101-53.
That's crazy.
It's hard to believe. Now, if you watch the game, there were two spurts where, the first quarter, the Liberty play their actual starters for a few minutes. The Chicago Sky just absolutely roll them, and then the Liberty pull their starters, kind of waving the white flag. And then to begin the second half, the same thing goes down. They play the starters to begin the half, and then they get pulled after an abysmal stretch, and Sandy has to kind of sit there and wave the white flag. I mean, I don't want to be, too reactionary because it is a preseason game, and Liberty had absolutely nothing on the line. And if there was something on the line, we wouldn't have seen this result. Yeah. That being said, I think it does speak to the floor of the Liberty. I think it also speaks to how different this year's team is from last year when it comes to the second unit. I think that the second unit last year was pretty darn lackluster, but it was also reliable. And you had a couple veterans who had seen plenty of WNBA time. This year, you have a second unit with a bunch of fresh blood, a bunch of new faces, and a bunch of unproven WNBA scorers. And also on the defensive end, particularly, that's what really stood out against the Sky, how poor the Liberty's defense was. We know time and time again, throughout the pretty dominant 23 campaign, there were some horrible defensive showings. That was kind of, how are the Liberty going to shore this up coming into the year 2 of the super team era? And obviously that preseason affair is not too inspiring, but they bounced back is the big thing in my mind. They also played a second preseason game where they looked much more like themselves.
They won the next one.
They beat the Sun. It's like a tale of two teams,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the Chicago Sky being this dominant once push comes to shove in real basketball.
No.
But, yeah, I think that it speaks to the Liberty kind of having shaken things up when it comes to the second unit. People haven't really talked about that. There's a lot of roster cuts as we saw this week, but there are a lot of new names outside of kind of that like 6 with Thornton, and that's pretty much it when it comes to who's returning. Sabali, but yeah, a lot of fresh faces, and the Liberty kind of are going to need to find themselves defensively in the first 5 to 10 games of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to chef up a word salad over a 50-point preseason loss, but what I will say is that when you are a team, when you have Brianna Stewart, your MVP, saying we want to reach a higher ceiling this year, what kind of leadership is going on if that's the mindset and the approach and the effort level and the blah, blah, blah in game one? That's your first chance to show how dominant you are. You should be wanting to blow a team like that out of the water. If you lose, it's because you lost a close one to a team that just dug deep and wanted it more. Now, listen, I understand the WNBA Finals, not exactly an optimal set of circumstances for the Liberty. I mean, Stewart, her father-in-law died, I think, like the morning of game one or something.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was like you can understand why the team might be a little off, right? But here's the thing. Preseason game one, like I'm going to go stay in New York basketball, but just look for a second at Tom Thibodeau, who would maybe have a stroke on the sideline before he waved the white flag.
Yeah.
And he will bench guys when they're up 22 for taking a bad shot, because it's about setting the tone. It's about, say it with me, folks in the back, attitude, right? And so basically when you are setting that tone, when the tone you're setting is, oh, we're really good and we know it, we'll show you in 7 to 9 business days. Mm-hmm. That's not dominance. That's not winning. That's situational winning. You know where situational winning gets you? Charter flight to Cancun.
Look, when you think about Tom Thibodeau versus Sandy Rondello, I think that's a funny kind of mismatch to think in your head, because they are so vastly different in about every way possible.
But Sandy's grit, right? Like she had the right answer. She had a one-word answer when she was asked about the blowout with the Sky. Embarrassing. Yeah, correct, right? But who? That's like the meme. It's like, who did this? You know, like Tim Robinson in the hot dog outfit, being like, "Wow, who drove this car?" Like, dude, you led the team to a 50-point loss.
What sticks out to me though is that this could never happen in Las Vegas. And no matter the circumstance, no matter the preseason,
the tone is set.
Because the tone is set. And I think we should touch on why that tone has been set. Becky Hammon and Asia Wilson are a one-of-a-kind coach-star combo. And obviously beyond that, they have this unbelievable cast of players who is so talented and wants to play for one another so badly. But when you compare the two quote-unquote super teams in the WNBA, it's like night and day when it comes to culture. And there's something that Becky Hammon has built in Las Vegas that Sandy Brondello is simply unable to create in New York for a couple reasons. First of all, the personalities of Las Vegas. The group that Becky Hammon has out there, when it comes to cohesion and who they are off the court, it doesn't get any better. And Becky Hammon is also the perfect person to lead that group. It just so happens it's not that same camaraderie in New York. Now, it took years to build in Las Vegas. They simply haven't built it yet in New York.
Well, we have a caller on the line, and I know this caller very well. First-time caller. I'm excited to hear her voice on the air. It is my mom, Michelle. How are you doing, Mom? What do you got for us?
Hello, Julia. Hello, everybody. Well, I just wanted to call in and say how proud we are, me and the family, of you. Aunt Sandra wanted to be on the phone with me, but she fell asleep, so she'll get you at another time. And that we're excited about your future and about what you do next. So,
thank you, Mom. I appreciate that. And you can go to sleep now. I know I know how tough it was for you to stay up today. I really, really appreciate it. But yeah.
Okay, well, you guys have fun. I'm sure all the parents are very proud of you, and go Bills.
Oh, my God. I knew she was going to sneak that in. She was devastated when I wasn't on the NFL segment because she wanted to get her takes off about Buffalo. But nonetheless, thank you again, Mom. But
all right, love you.
Love you, Mom. Well, let's try and segue back into the Liberty here, because you guys made some great points about the preseason. But let's talk about the actual season, because some cuts have to be made, and some cuts were made today. Jessica Carter, unfortunately, that was a tough blow for me. I got to talk to her at media day, and it was just really, really incredible. Her perspective on basketball, how much she enjoyed New York and her short, I guess now, time here. But when you look at this team, this is one of the hardest rosters to make in the WNBA, and there's more cuts that have to be made. So, first of all, I just want your opinions on what the cuts, in your opinion, have looked like so far, and then, how do they navigate from this point going forward?
Well, if we're being honest, they made the easy round of cuts, because these 5 were
hurts
probably,
my heart to hear.
Yeah, these were the most predictable 5 to go, but unfortunately these next 2 cuts are going to be extremely difficult. They stand at 13 right now. They are allowed to carry 12, but Jonathan Kolb, the general manager, has said they will carry 11 to start the year. First, cap space wise, financially speaking, and also they want the ability to pick up a 12th body following the Olympic break, and obviously some people have touched on that, the possibility of that being Marine. I think, unfortunately, these 5 names were set to go. Stephanie Mawuli, I believe is the last name.
And she's been in the Liberty camp for a while now.
Yes, it's my second time being at training camp and seeing her get cut. If I'm not mistaken, it's the 3rd straight year of her being a participant at training camp and not making the team. I mean,
on the bubble.
It's funny, the whole situation with the hardship deals. We saw it with Epiphany Prince last year. Now she's obviously joined the front office, but it's a difficult roster to make, and I think over this next week, really, we're going to see the most difficult 2 cuts, and it does seem at the moment, Julia, only 1 rookie out of the 3 drafted, and that's not including Caitlin Davis, who is that save for next year. Same with Abby Shue. So it's the stash situation for the Columbia names, but it does seem it's going to be 1 rookie. I think it's going to be that first round name, which we have both kind of, in my mind, fallen in love with. But I think it's difficult that 2 out of the 3 non-stash rookies will end up getting cut. That was kind of the writing on the wall this year with the Liberty, but
even though Jalen Sherrod has impressed, but I don't think it's enough to push you above those other players. But she's looked good.
She's drawn it out, right?
And she's tiny.
What she brings to the table, in part because of that, is fire, right? Like, she plays with heart and soul, and that's awesome. But 2 cuts left. You figure Markeisha Davis is a lock to make the roster. She brings 2 things that the Liberty didn't have last year. We've talked about this. The tough point of attack and perimeter defense, ball stopping is what good playoff teams do. In any level of basketball in any country, and you know what I mean. But the other thing is that grit on the perimeter that is not as much something on the stat sheet as it is in the locker room and on the court for morale and everything. And that's what Sherrod does also, is she brings that fire to the table where you're like, okay, let's see what she's got. I want to give her a shot. I want to get her in there. I want to watch her turn the world upside down. But it's time for the tough cuts to come, as Miles was saying earlier. The easy round's over. And Jess Carter, 6'5", right? Won the Mississippi state, not that she's from there, but the state of Mississippi women's basketball award. Maybe a bigger state. Then not gonna cut it. Sherrod, awesome. Maybe she'll be back next year, but in my opinion, some struggling team should just go grab her once cut.
Yeah, these players have so much better of a chance getting in the training camp roster of a different team.
Carter's behind Stewart and Jones, and then you figure Nyara Sabali is going to be the backup big. Exactly. Really no room for Jess Carter, as good as she may have been.
In the case of Jalen Sherrod, she is 5'7", and in my mind, no disrespect to Jalen Sherrod, if she were 5'11", she would have a great chance at making this roster. But Asia Dingle's not going to be a pro. As we know, we've had a lot of experience with Asia Dingle. She's an amazing basketball talent.
Dog.
Does it on 2 sides, right? Jalen Sherrod is a lot like Asia Dingle in that I think that it's going to take 3-4 inches and 35 pounds to make the professional ranks. And that's kind of the reality for many Division I basketball players, the many Division I standouts. She's behind the 8 ball, and I think she is the next cut. I also wanted to say she tweeted a few days ago, delayed but not denied, with a black heart. I don't know.
I like that.
I think she's not.
It's a good mindset to have.
Yes, but she's not. She's also aware of her
undrafted,
position.
outlasted the team's 23rd overall pick.
Yeah.
But this isn't Survivor, right? You're not trying to just be on the island for as long as you're trying to make the team. So
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this New York Liberty offseason shapes out as they really try and get over that hump of going to the finals, but also winning the finals as they came just short of last season. But that's going to do it for our New York Liberty segment. We will be right back with a fun segment talking to some Giants and Jets. Bridge Gotham, Brian Raybacks, and Merrick Rhodes will have you on that one. You won't want to miss it. Stick around. We will be right back.
You're listening to WFUV, New York.
Just about hour 3 here on One on One. That's New York's longest running sports call-in show. I'm Bridge Gotham. Join alongside my co-host, Brian Raybacks, Merrick Rhodes. And guys, as I mentioned, hour 3, senior show. We're getting to the end of the road. Let's talk some football. Football is what we love. I've been the Giants beat reporter the past 2 years. Can't thank the station enough for all the opportunities. I want to intro the segment because we already have a caller, Mr. Jack Warner, on the line. Wow. Of course, a part of WFUV. Jack, how are you?
I'm good, boys. Thank you for having me on. It's amazing. I've been waiting a year to do this. I finally made the air on the senior show.
Full
It's just a
calendar
miracle.
year.
A
A year in the making.
No, now, before I get too, sentimental with you guys, it is a Giants-Jets segment, so I guess I have to throw out my token football take.
Let's do it.
I do think Malik Neighbors will go down as probably the best pick of this draft. Call it right now. I really like how he projects. I think that's a huge pick for the New York Giants. That's out of the way. Sounds good. Before the original recipient of this call is Brian Raybacks, but before I get to him, I'd be damned if I skip over Mr. Bridge Gotham and Merrick Rhodes. You two have been such a pleasure to work with. Truly so fun. The station is always just a better vibe when you guys are in the studio. I've gotten to work with both of you guys very directly, and I've had some of my most fun time on air, and it's always such a valuable thing when you go on air and you're with people that make you comfortable, because it's already a nerve-wracking experience enough sometimes to go on air and perform. So to work alongside you guys, both of you are just such great people and have done such great things for the station. I'm going to miss both of you dearly, and I just want to thank you both for your contributions, because you're great guys and really talented individuals that have a lot ahead of you.
Thanks so much,
with
Jack.
That being said,
Appreciate
Brian, I got to single you out, buddy, because you're one of my first friends at the station. I met you not even in the radio station. I met you at club baseball tryouts, which
That's right.
I wish went better for you, but you still had the most impressive 60-yard dash time, so no one can
I'll
ever
always
take that
have
away
that.
from you. But listen, buddy, all jokes aside, look, I'm so unbelievably proud of you and everything that you've accomplished while you've been at the station. And, watching you has been so much fun because, like myself, you're also a business school kid. And like Bridge, a couple other people at the
Shout out
station.
Cabelli.
You're one of the business school kids where you and I are very similar in the sense that, we may not be looking to do this as a career. We may not be on the comms path or the journalism path or whatever you usually see people at radio stations doing. You just hopped in there and threw your hat in the ring because you love sports and you had a passion to go on and talk about it. And so I'm just really proud to see all of the ways in which you've made us proud and all the hard work you've done, and especially what you did as a broadcaster this year alongside Lou. Listening to you call football this year was so unbelievably fun because you would have never known that was a business student that just threw on a headset and taught himself and worked hard and taught himself how to call football games. You sounded like a pro, my man. No one should have ever been surprised that you were amazing behind a mic. So watching you do the things that you did this year, and alongside with it being one of my best friends at the school, getting to see you succeed the way you are, I'm just so unbelievably proud of you, and I can't wait to see all of the phenomenal things that you do as you move on to the next chapter of your life. And lastly, the horse is from Schenectady.
Schenectady? Excuse me? Jack, you're a gentleman and a scholar, and I'm glad you joined FUV last year and it's able to bring us together. You're one of my closest friends, and I'm glad to have that. And thank you for the kind words. Much,
love you, buddy.
much
Love
appreciated. Love you, man.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you
for the
calling.
call.
Wow.
Appreciate it, Jack.
I'm going to have to top that next year when I call into this show.
I know. I mean,
It's hard to
and
beat.
to that point, the station's in great hands. We have Lou, of course, Jack Warner, Will Talent, a lot of
Talent.
great guys coming in next year. But, hey, we haven't passed the torch just yet.
No.
Let's talk some football. Let's go off of the point that Jack just made about Malik Neighbors, the possibility of him being the best pick. I don't know about that. I would love it from a Giants perspective, but a lot of quarterbacks going early in that draft.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks, a stacked quarterback class, but more that went than expected. And the Giants were in the market for a quarterback where there was a lot of smoke of whether they wanted J.J. McCarthy at 6. A lot of sites were reporting that, and it was really between do they want a quarterback or do they want a receiver. They choose to get a stud receiver in the draft from LSU, Malik Neighbors, to possibly elevate Daniel Jones to the next level. Daniel Jones in year 6, still searching to really prove himself in the eyes of Giants fans. But, yeah, I can't fault the Giants for going where they went. They got a real top offensive weapon and might be the best receiver Daniel Jones might have been able to throw to in his career. He hasn't had a lot of great weapons, so here's his chance. Year 6. Prove yourself, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, very bold take to say that in this draft class, Malik Neighbors is going to be the best player overall. He might not even be the best receiver out of this
Marvin
draft
Harrison
class.
is also out there.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison is out there. But in terms of the Giants, I think it was the right move. I mean, you gave Daniel Jones all that money. Obviously, gets hurt. There's questions around Daniel Jones. That's an understatement. But you have all that money invested in him. You might as well give it one last shot because it's so difficult to move guys with that much money. That it's worth taking the shot and getting him a young stud wide receiver and seeing what that could potentially do for his career because I mean we've seen it so many times before that sometimes for a quarterback all you need is that one guy to take you to the next level, and he could very well be that guy for Daniel Jones, but we'll have to wait and see, and I don't think he's going to be the best player in this class, but that might just be me as an Eagles fan.
Yeah, but it would be fun to see, and we're going to kind of shift gears here. We have another caller on the line. Anthony, can you hear us?
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, Brooklyn Bridge. Yo, good to hear from you, man.
Hey.
Oh, man, this is going to be a good one.
So New York Jets, obviously storied franchise around these parts. I'm curious, do you ever think that the New York Jets and the Winnipeg Jets would ever, get together sometime, spend some time, maybe, lunch in the city or something like that? What are your thoughts?
Well, if the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants could do it, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets,
listen,
would the Arizona Cardinals have dinner with the St. Louis Cardinals?
I've definitely thought about that.
Oh, I know you have.
Put a lot
Listen,
of
man.
thought into
Listen, man. Yo, good for hearing from you. Long time, first time. Been a big fan of the show. Wish you all the best. But, New York Jets taking it all this year. Jets all day, baby.
Appreciate the call. Means a lot. Thank you so much.
Are you excited for the giant relay race, the giant picnic that they have when the San Francisco Giants come into town?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be
When the San Francisco Giants come and they play the Mets.
Yeah.
Back to football, though. The Giants.
Nice transition.
The Giants have a chance to really kind of improve the offense. And one of the things I really like about Malik Neighbors, he's not just a pass catcher. He does really well as a runner, too. So you look at short crossing routes that can work very easily for any quarterback. And once he gets the ball in his hands, he's just a machine. He just goes. He's very able to get yards after the catch. He's a really good talent. And I think that if the Giants can feed him the ball enough, they'll be able to do it. It's a little weird to see how he's kind of approached Daniel Jones for the start. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff in the media where he's on that Twitch stream and they bring up Justin Herbert and he's like, "Yeah, I like the sound of that." And then they're like, "Wait, who's the quarterback of the Giants?" And he ends the stream.
Just, I mean, in the whole world of social media and everything, it's like there's no hiding. Like everything you say is monitored and has its goods, it has its bads. And look, I think now that he's part of the organization, like whatever, beef, I don't even know I would call it that. Everything's going to be good. But a receiver's only as good as his quarterback. Right. And it's only as good as the guy that can get him the football. Look, I think Merrick made a great point about Jones. Like, you gave him all the money, so you're not going to cut ties with him after one season on the new contract.
It's just too difficult.
Yeah, and this doesn't mean that you're saying, oh, he's going to win you a Super Bowl, but like where your franchise is at right now, you just don't have that choice. It's not worth trading up for J.J. McCarthy. So I think the Giants made the right choice. But something the Giants will have to figure out is, well, they've kind of figured it out, but their situation at running back, which I think Merrick knows a whole lot about because Saquon Barkley, longtime Giant, spent his whole career there, the second overall pick.
On his face over there.
Best
going
decision
down
of his life.
Going down to Philly next year. And Merrick, do you think Saquon, despite his age, despite his injuries, can contribute to the Eagles? And it's going to be a fun rivalry next year.
I want to tell you guys about a guy a couple years ago. Trade went down. He had battled injuries for a couple years. He always had a lot. He always had a lot of talent, but it just seemed the team around him wasn't really built for him. And then he got traded to San Francisco.
And this is what I'm afraid
and
of.
Christian McCaffrey became
did he win a Super Bowl?
The best, one of the, maybe not the best. Well, he is the best running back in the NFL. And now you look at Saquon Barkley, a guy who out of college was one of the top prospects in that draft class. Went to the New York Giants, We know about the New York Giants and their offensive line, and that led to some injuries in Saquon's career. But now, Saquon Barkley is behind the best offensive line in the NFL, even with Jason Kelce gone.
Well, you know what? It's sad. Like, I don't know what Saquon's doing with his decision because he's just going to get, touchdowns taken away from him. Every time he goes down to the 1 yard line, he's going to be shoving Jalen Hurts into the end zone.
Yeah, he's going to be pushing.
We could start running the tush push with Saquon Barkley if we want.
Oh, my
Did you guys see the video of Saquon squatting and Jalen Hurts just standing in the background just smiling?
I did not see that. Those are two guys that can squat, though. Like,
Those
Saquon
guys
obviously
can
can squat
weight.
600 pounds, but Jalen Hurts also, if you've seen videos of him squatting,
it's going to be interesting because of how this season ended for the Eagles last year. I mean, you talk about an incredible start coming off of a nearly winning the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And it'd be interesting to see, you have Dallas, of course, always a factor. They're always going to win 10, 11 games. They're going to go out of the playoffs. But the NFC East, it's always interesting. And I think from the Giants' perspective, they're going to win somewhere between 5 and 8 games. I think 8's kind of your ceiling. I agree. Look, we don't have the schedule yet. We have the opponents. The schedule, I think, comes out Tuesday or Wednesday. So
I think it's next week.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's always fun to kind of plan those games.
I'm seeing
you want to go
schedule
to.
leaks come out.
Always happens.
I think with the
I don't know whether or
leaks.
not to believe it or not because some sites are just totally fake.
I think sometimes they'll release the international games early. I know the Eagles are playing on Friday in Brazil,
week
right?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about that. That's
week
this
1.
Is,
yeah.
This is totally random, but I just saw an article about this. The stadium they're playing in was built for one of the World Cups, but the team that played in there is a very historic team, and their rivals wear green. And there's a big rule in that stadium that you don't wear green, and it's and it's not just for their league. It's for the World Cup, Brazil, and I forget the other team. They wore different colored uniforms in order to comply with the rule.
That's interesting.
And not only did they put the Eagles there, they put them against the Packers.
Yeah.
So people are saying
what are people supposed to do?
The Eagles are supposed to, or supposedly people are saying they're going to have to wear the black jerseys in week 1.
And the Packers will wear
white.
I guess.
I don't even know what but the white has green on it.
I guess they do have the yellow helmets so they can hide it.
The yellow helmets, but that's bizarre.
Yeah.
I think it's also bizarre that it's a Friday game because I heard there's going to still be the typical kickoff game Thursday. Then Friday you'll get this game, and then there's going to be a lot of interesting things. Christmas is on a Wednesday this year, and the NFL is pushing. They're putting games on Christmas on Wednesday. So they're fighting. They've kind of taken it away from, Christmas always kind of been an NBA holiday. The NFL the past couple of years starting to put games on there.
I don't know. I don't know if you can do an NFL game on a Wednesday though.
They're doing it though.
Yeah.
That's the
Are
thing.
they doing
yeah,
it?
that's
Like,
confirmed.
confirmed?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up.
How's that gonna work? Are
Like,
you gonna have
what
a team
week is
like?
it going to count for? Probably the next week. It'd be like.
Probably-
But
Thursday,
also,
yeah.
if a team's playing on Sunday, I guess you can line up the bye weeks late. But if a team's
yeah, they're going to
playing
make
on
the schedule work. Like
Yeah.
they're not going to
they
have a team
can't have
play
a team
Sunday
play
and then
with
Wednesday.
like 3
yeah.
days of rest. Yeah.
No, they wouldn't do that. I think that they'll figure it out.
It'd
And
probably be like a Thursday night or into Wednesday or like a bye.
Oh,
like
you
said.
know what? That does make a lot of
and
sense.
sometimes
like,
they also have the Saturday games in December. Remember that
True.
like NFL Network triple header that sometimes they
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
late December. So they'll figure it out. But I think it's going to be really exciting to see the schedule. And let's talk about the Jets a little bit. We kind of have to talk about the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is coming back. We saw him for 4 plays last year. They are built to win. They have a good defense. They have good weapons. Can Rodgers stay healthy? And was he going to be 40 now?
close to 40.
Is
I
a
think he's
40-year-old
39.
Rodgers coming off an Achilles injury? Like, I mean, you're in a
Listen-
division with the Dolphins and the Bills. Like,
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's hard to not have concerns about Aaron Rodgers. I think health-wise, he should be fine. And if he can stay on the field, listen, the Jets season in 2023 was kind of a disaster. This was not the team that they had hoped for.
no.
There are a lot of issues, obviously, at the quarterback position. So if they have Aaron Rodgers, who looks like he has no limitations as of right now, he
And I
will be
believe
healthy.
Tyrod Taylor is their backup. if I'm
Tyrod
not
Taylor is
mistaken.
their backup.
And
So-
I
and
think
we saw with the
very-
Giants this year.
A very solid backup, too.
Yeah, except when he was trying to hit Saquon on a 2-yard pass
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
2-point conversion
Yeah, I
against the
mean,
Rams.
yep.
But
Yeah.
listen, I think that Aaron Rodgers, he's brought there for a reason, and I think that he'll be healthy and give the Jets a chance and inject life back into that team, which they've been missing for so long.
I think what you said, Bridge, is a great point because the division they're in is so tough that it's hard for you to kind of think about any team winning that division, let alone the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, not the Patriots.
Yeah, funny enough, they're the one team in the
yeah,
basement
exactly.
now. Our whole life, it's been the other way around.
Drake May.
Yeah.
But I obviously you never want to see your quarterback tear his Achilles, especially in his first year. He's Aaron Rodgers. 4 plays into the season.
I mean, I'm not even a Jet fan. I was looking forward to seeing how he'd look. You know, I mean,
But the one positive that comes out of that, I think, is that it really is going to control Jets fans' expectations for this year. And I'm not even saying that like they should be downright like upset or like this year's going to suck again. But last year they were thinking Super Bowl or bust. Jets
Right.
fans were thinking Super Bowl or bust
like
out
the
of the gate.
Buccaneers when they got Tom Brady.
Yes, obviously that's Tom Brady. It was a little different.
Yeah, they did win the
but,
Super Bowl.
But with this situation, I think it's good because it'll give them a lower expectation. You can enjoy it more rather than having such high expectations on the team and getting them just crushed. I think if you go in with the right mentality, I think this Jets team will be all right this year. I don't see another catastrophic injury to Rodgers, and if he can stay healthy, he can hit his targets, especially you got Garrett Wilson there. He's a stud. I think the O-line's still a question. I mean, you add in the draft, but outside of Olu, you have Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith, two guys who I remember playing back in like the early 2010s, let alone into the 2020s.
They've been around.
So that's definitely a concern when you think about some of the defensive ends in the NFL now and how athletic they are. But I think expectations are about where they should be for the Jets, and I think they're going to be fine. I think it's going to be a really competitive division, especially with guys like Diggs leaving the division. It kind of levels the playing field a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see the Jets next year for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it all remains to be seen. We got the schedule release, as I mentioned, so it's hard to kind of give a record prediction without knowing the schedule. You know, where are you going to see a 3-game road trip potentially? Like, all that stuff really does matter. But that'll just about do it for our segment. When we come back, the last 45 minutes or so of the show are going to be a lot of reminiscing on the good old days of our 4 years, 3 years, however long you were here at FUV. A lot of good times to break down. Back on One-on-One.
Yeah, Michael said it best. It's a great time to be a basketball fan. It's a great time for me to be on my first podcast on Pick and Pod. So I'm
Really?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Oh my God, this is a special episode.
Do we do something special for?
Well, the special thing is we got to talk about the Grizzlies.
So pumped this is finally happening. I know we've all been in production for this podcast for a long time, like over a month. So to finally have an outlet to talk about women's sports is really amazing, and couldn't be more hyped to be here with you two.
Julia Moss here with Bridge Gotham. We just finished up the second and last day of the Kansas City Chiefs media availability. We got to talk to a lot of players, Bridge. Today we are joined by a very special guest. Monica McNutt is with us. I'm Julia Moss, joined with a very, very special guest, Mike Watts. I am Julia Moss, joined here with Taylor Macetta, and we are joined by the one and only Ryan Rucco.
So much for having me. I'm proud of you guys for what you've done for FUV and what you're going to continue to do. Ryan, you've done an amazing job as sports manager. I know Julia is going to absolutely crush it now as sports manager, and our first female sports manager, which is just outstanding news.
I'm Julia Moss with WFUV.
Just from standing in here, a couple of your teammates that saw our Fordham gear and said, you got to get Nick. Where does that Fordham pride come from? Because according to your teammates, you talk about Fordham quite a bit. You get the starting job last year, make a deep playoff run. This year, you're going to a Super Bowl. The ascension really has been quick. For you, has it felt as quick as it's been, or is that a thing where you're just taking it moment by moment? But as I sit here now, it has just been an incredible journey. This gym has a lot of memories in it, and I'm just honored to have broadcasted a game here. Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. I'm Julia Moss. This is a senior show. This is the last segment where we're going to hear from each and every single last senior who is on staff right now, which is very bittersweet. I think I've gone a very long time without saying that word, so I'm going to say it right now. But right now, we've got Bridge Gotham, Chris Shepard. I know you guys are friends, so I wanted to get you guys in here first and just talk about, first of all, what it's been like. Chris, you joined a little bit later, but just coming into WFUV, we can start with you. As you reflect on your time at the station, what has that experience been like for you?
First of all, this just feels like a full circle moment. I met Bridge last year, study abroad in London, and if it weren't for that night, I probably would not be sitting here with you right now. So first off, I just want to thank him for showing me the door and inviting me into this wonderful family. Ultimately, WFUB, what can I say about this program? It's just been a pleasure just getting to know each and every single one of the people in this program. It's just been a fantastic year. Obviously, being able to just come in every week and get to talk about sports, our favorite sports, every single week is just such a pleasure to do. And it just feels so surreal sitting here making my one-on-one debut just a couple minutes ago, and just being able to reflect on this past year, because it was crazy just obviously seeing my own personal growth and how other people have seriously helped me. I know back there is Colin Loughran, who was my mock group leader for this past year, so I want to thank him as well. He was a huge part of my development. Ultimately, I'm just so glad to have gotten this opportunity, so I'm just so thankful right now.
Absolutely, and Bridge.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to top that. Chris, so happy to have you here. I mean, everybody I meet, I have my spiel. I pitch the station. I'm like, come join. It's the greatest thing ever. You get to talk sports. You get to do all these great things. And that's kind of what drew me here in the first place. I mean, when I came here, it was the COVID year, of course, so a lot of complications. But I knew of WFUV sports. I mean, I grew up with Michael Kay, Mike Breen. These are guys I was very familiar with. But with COVID, there wasn't a club fair. There wasn't the typical introductory way of getting into FUV, and so I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I join? Are people in the studio? It was a very chaotic time, and I remember talking to my mom, and Happy Mother's Day, of course, and she was saying you just email this man Bobby, his name's on the website, he's the sports director, and I'm like, I don't know, is that going to lead anything? I'm a freshman, I don't know what I'm doing. She's like, just do it. If it weren't for that, and I wanted to join, I just didn't know how. So if it weren't for that, and I emailed Bobby, and he came back right away. Had a 40-minute phone call with him. I mean, it was the best. And I remember one of the things I said to him, I was like, so, you guys go to the Super Bowl? And he's like, yeah, if you work hard, that can be you one day. And I got to go to the Super Bowl this year. So full circle there. Freshman year was very interesting for me. I didn't get in the studio till my sophomore year because of all the COVID stuff, but I got to do some beat reporting my freshman year. I got to go to the Rangers, Islanders. Like, I got to pick up some unique assignments because of how limited the numbers were.
Mhm.
So I kind of got a bit of a jump on it, which was kind of cool. I was thrown into the fire in a good way. Like, I was thrown on one-on-one before I came into the studio, which was very interesting. And then coming back my sophomore year, just getting to meet everybody, just knowing, like to Chris's point, it's a family here. Everybody loves each other. Everyone cares about each other. People will stay 30 to 45 minutes afterwards for postmortem, not because they have to, because they want to, because they want people to get better. And then, being the Giants beat reporter the past 2 years has been nothing short of amazing. Just going to get to go to all the games, going to the locker room. It's stuff like that, I send to any one of my friends, and they're like, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm like, I can't believe it either. So it's been such an awesome ride. I can't thank Julia, Ryan Gregware, Alex Wolves, Emmanuel Barbari, all the sports managers, Bobby Chaffardini, of course, getting me in on this, on that first phone call. It's really been amazing. I'm going to miss this place so much. There's not a lot of things that'll get me up on a Saturday morning after a night out on Friday. FUV is one of those things. I come in with a big smile on my face, 9 a.m., and I'm ready to do one-on-one. And I have graduation next week. I wish I was doing one-on-one. I'm not ready yet, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, and Chris, I mean, there's a lot to be said for wanting to go through the training program. And, FUV has as many great alumni as we do because of the training and the mentorship and all of that you receive with FUV. You joined this year knowing you were a senior, and, the dedication that you put into this training, just the program and the energy that you brought. You've been an incredible addition in your short time here. So I can't thank you enough for sticking with every, the highlights, the engineering. It's a grind when you first join, but I just applaud the effort that we saw from you this entire year, and you were just an incredible addition to the staff.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank both of you, especially because you're like the first two people I associated with FUV. Bridge getting me through the door, Julia obviously being such a great, fantastic leader, helping me get into the FUVSC podcast, obviously soccer being one of my favorite sports, so I'm just so grateful to both of you guys for helping me get into that. It truly is such a fascinating process. Obviously, being a senior, obviously not knowing a lot of people in this program, but just getting to know them this past year, getting to know people from each and every single year, not just seniors. Obviously, my mock group, we talk a lot about sports every day. They really dedicated a lot of time into wanting to come to FUV every day and put the effort in and put the dedication in. And I'm just really grateful to them as well. So I want to shout out my mock group. Each and every single one of you has led me to this moment right now. I'm forever grateful for your cooperation because it really has made me a better person and a better radio personality. So thank you so much. But ultimately, I just feel like WFUV will always be my home no matter what. Even in my 1 year, maybe even less than 1 year of this experience, it has taught me to always cherish the moments where you can just come in and talk with friends, and I'll never forget this place.
100%. And Bridge, it's hard to know where to start because you've been able to do so much in your 4 years at FUV. Starting with being a Giants beat reporter the past 2 years, I can confidently say that your videos are some of the most unique that this station has ever seen. I mean, from posting or from filming them in Grand Central to outside in Miami it was Miami, right? When
That's
you went
right,
to it's just been incredible to watch your growth both as a reporter and a staff member. You're one of the most surefire, dependable A-host producers, and as someone who does both as well, it is very difficult to be good at both, and you've successfully been a dependable staff member for both. And I just can't thank your personality, your effort, like I said with Chris, just the energy that both of you guys have brought to the station has been just absolutely incredible.
No, thank you, and Julia, that means so much. And I echo everything about you as well. But I mean, yeah, it's been so cool. I mean, you mentioned going down to Miami for a game. Like, I emailed Bobby. I was like, if I go this long weekend, like, can I get a credential? And like, these are the opportunities you get at a place like FUV.
Exactly.
You can get credentialed to away games. Like, I got to go to the Miami Dolphins was the coolest experience, because you're flying down there. Going to Vegas with you was amazing.
Yes.
You, Brian Raybacks, Chris Persianen, and covering on Radio Row and all the people we had to interview, and just what an amazing opportunity that was. Such a new experience for all of us, and just doing it like I mentioned this, I think, in my senior post, like Friday you could be calling a game, Saturday you do one-on-one, and Sunday you could be beat reporting for the Giants. Like, I don't think there's another place that you can do that. And just the opportunities that you get at WFUV, they're second to none. The people that you get to work with, just absolutely amazing. And I'm going to miss this place so much.
Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate the time and the effort from the past 4 years and past year. We will be joined now with Andy and Ralph. We're not going to take a break. We're just going to take a short intermission while there's some shuffling going on. But thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
Absolutely.
Coming in now, we've got Andy Rodriguez, Ralph Barbieri. Ralph, our supervising producer this year, and Andy Rodriguez, someone who's been around for a couple years now.
Oh.
Well, you joined summer of this year. I'm Fringe a year and a half, a trainee this year, but you certainly did.
Yeah.
You did stuff during the summer.
That's true. I did do stuff during the summer.
Exactly.
That was a great start, actually. Got a good chance since most people were gone, and just got to get right into it from the get-go.
100%. But like we started the last one, Ralph, this is your first time on one-on-one, which is unbelievable to think about. But you have been just the most dependable producer that, I've seen in my 3 years here. So I just want to hear, what your experience and what your memories when you look back at FUV are going to be, or what they have been.
Oh, well, thank you, first of all.
Of
Yeah, I mean, it was previously mentioned that, we're the COVID class. So my freshman year, I remember just being on Zoom, being kind of miserable. And it's really amazing what, making friends can do for a college experience. This goes for all college students, but really, I'm a commuter. And so I urge all commuters, you have to get involved. You have to. And I think the best thing about FUV is that, it's the people. Making friends here turned my entire experience around. The past, I'll say 3 years, because I joined my sophomore year. It's just been great. And, like you said, I produced a ton of these.
To say the very least. That is putting it lightly.
And I'm really so proud of that. And, because of that, I feel like I got to meet so many people. And it's just been a joy and an honor to work with all you guys. And even more so, it's a joy and honor that I get to call you guys my friends. It's just been a great time. I know we actually
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about this. We had our orientation together.
What?
So we go way back.
Like online, like Zoom orientation.
Oh my
we were in the
God.
same group.
No way.
Oh, that was what a
And look at
throwback.
you. What a crazy full
Full
circle moment
I mean,
this
that's
is.
a full.
Jeez.
And it's really purely coincidental. It's amazing.
That is awesome. Andy, I know you've only, I said 2 years. Apparently that was a gross overestimation, but it feels like you've been here for 2 years because of how much you've been able to make an impact in your time here. I remember, there's certain people where you look at the trainee class and you're like, oh, that's right. I guess they are a trainee. And I feel like you definitely fall under that category because of how much work you put in this summer. I know this is like a very niche thing, but I know every single staff member can say this. Your graphics, or your lower third specifically, if you've been watching the show tonight and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, those lower thirds are fire, it's because of Andy Rodriguez, and he has just been crushing it this entire year on that front, but also, of course, with FUVFC and your other coverage there. But yeah, I just want to thank you for that, first of all, and just hear, your thoughts of this year.
It's been crazy. Literally, the only regret of my time here at Fordham, because it's been so great, is not joining FUV earlier.
Yeah.
I remember I was trying to fill in electives because I was already way ahead of track to get all of my required courses out of the way. And I was like, oh, sports journalism is a minor? Let me take that. And then I joined the sports broadcasting class last spring. And in that class, crazy cast of people, which I had no clue back then. Ryan Gregory, Sam Davis, Miles Grossman, they were all in that class.
Wow.
A couple other FUV people.
What class was this?
Sports broadcasting.
Oh, okay. Was it Bobby's class?
Yeah, it was
okay,
Bobby's
well,
class.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Our sports director, by the way, Bobby Chavardini.
I didn't get to
What
know
a weird
them.
coincidence.
Yeah, I didn't get to know them pretty well because they missed half the classes going to support the Fordham teams. But yeah, that was my introduction to learning about the program. And I remember I'd just stay with Bobby after class for half an hour just talking sports. And then one day he's like, hey, you should join FUV. And I was like, all right, I'm down.
Let me tell you one thing. Bobby Chavardini uses that class as you can talk about the best recruiters in the nation,
I think you have to put Robert Chaffrigini up there on that list, and because he puts in the work in those classes. He takes so much credit when I think it's you actually. Every time someone compliments you, he's like, I did that. I recruited him from this class. He says it every single time. So you should feel happy about that. Bobby puts in the work, but you mentioned you didn't see much of the FUV broadcasters when you were in there. Bobby is also a very understanding person, and I don't know, I can probably count on my fingers how many times I was able to actually go to Bobby's class, but he is the most understanding person in our pursuit for careers after this. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, it was awesome. It just opened up this whole new network of people that I had no idea about. And, well, maybe some I kind of knew, Ralph. But, like, we didn't really connect until I joined here, which is crazy. And, yeah, to do, like, the stuff I've been able to do, like, commentate soccer games on ESPN. I think I've told Julia this, but there's recordings of me of, like, a 5-year-old, like, doing mocks of, like, commentating soccer games.
Wow.
And now I got to do that. I remember when I got that opportunity, I was, like, so emotional. I kept telling my family, this is insane. And because I got to do that. So thank you for the opportunity, Julia.
Of course.
And yeah, I've met so many great friends. Some leaving, some still staying here at FUV. And it's been awesome. And to just say I'm part of this group of people. Funnily enough, this week I started my job and a coworker, she's like, oh, you're going to Fordham? My husband went to prep school, went to Fordham. And he loves this radio show. And I'm like, oh, FUV, like WFUV Sports. Like, yeah, like every week he'll talk about like how insane the sports is. Maybe he's listening right now. I don't know.
That would be incredible.
But I can say, I was able to say, hey, I'm part of that.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that's a highlight of my life.
I've had a few encounters like that as well.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
Insane.
Everywhere. I mean, you look at the alumni, the past alumni, the current students. I have no doubt that this class in particular, I think, is going to do a really great job at continuing to pass the torch over to, obviously blazing their own path, but also making sure that the next class is going to continue that legacy. But Ralph, it's hard to know like where to start because, I was supervising producer the year before. So I wanted to make sure when I got sports manager that there was going to be a good supervising producer because guess what? I didn't want the next supervising producer to be worse than me. So I was like, I need to make sure I pick the right person. And luckily enough, that decision was made incredibly easy because of the work that you did the year prior, and specifically that second semester before I was named sports manager. It was not a difficult decision for me to make because the dedication that you've put in, people don't realize every time we do a basketball game, there's one thing for sure. There needs to be 2 broadcasters and there needs to be a producer. So every broadcast we do, there has to be somebody producing. And Ralph, you have stepped up in more ways than I could ever have time to count on the air. So I just really appreciate, obviously, just being present, but also being really freaking good at your job and being such a good, like, just middle point for everyone else because, it can get very stressful, but you're never stressed, and at least you never show it. So to say you're a great broadcaster would be putting it incredibly lightly, and I can't thank you enough for the just effort that you've put in this year.
Well, I have to thank you just for, the opportunity. One, and then also, I had tremendous big shoes to fill. So
okay.
I really can't thank you
Please.
enough for, no, I know, I'm serious, and everyone can attest to this. I cannot thank you enough for really teaching me everything that I know here. That's a credit to you.
Of course. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. We're going to transition next to Andrew Canary and Michael Matuch, who are joining us now.
All right.
Come in, guys. What's up?
Place to be here.
Well, we've got Andrew Canary, who is our podcast coordinator. And for those who don't know what that might be, we do a heck of a lot of podcasts, and those have to be scheduled and those have to be monitored. So Andrew has filled not filled shoes because it was the first time we've had a podcast producer. So you've been just like forging your own path of what that position actually means, and you've done a great job. Of course, we have Michael Matuch, avid Bills fan. I've learned a while ago, but re-emphasized today after my mom called in and
Great
said she was
one of my favorites.
Yeah, I can imagine why. But Michael's done a great job on podcasts and one-on-ones, and has been a consistent member for a while now. But Andrew, we can start with you. You've been a staff member for, I think, 2 years now? You joined last summer. I think I was there for one of your first broadcasts, and I remember
Yeah, I think you were there for my first shadow, funnily enough. I
Wow.
think you were producing, so you kind of showed me the ropes and explained like
Look at
what
that.
WFUV was, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I think I might want to, keep doing this.
Nice, nice. Well, I just want to hear from your perspective, the past 2 years, what FUV has meant to you and just your overall experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant a whole lot. I mean, ever since that first shadow, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do here at Fordham for a really long time, and eventually I found out I really, had a passion for combat sports and UFC and boxing. That's really what I wanted to do. So I was looking for an avenue to pursue that, and luckily enough, I was able to find WFUV. And since I got here, it's been fantastic. I mean, they allowed me to, you, Julia, and Bobby, and Ryan Gregory before. I mean, they've allowed me to create my own combat sports podcast, Pound for Pound, which really kind of created a outlet, I guess, for me to kind of talk about the things I really want to talk about for the rest of my career, and also meet like-minded people, which is really great. I remember actually for my first training session, I actually met Madi Dembele, who's one of my close friends now and great co-host on Pound for Pound. But getting that podcast coordinator role, it really meant a lot to me to kind of take that next step up and really contribute more to WFUV and podcasting, which I really felt like was kind of, I guess, my main thing here. So I was really glad to be able to do that, and that then parlayed into other things like covering UFC events. I've been to the past 2 MSG events that UFC has held, and it's been fantastic. I mean, it's a literal dream come true to go from a fan in the nosebleeds to right next to the cage and be able to talk about it with, like I said, like-minded people, and have an avenue where that will actually go out into the world. So yeah, it's really meant everything for me for the past 2 years.
Absolutely. And Tooch, you've been an Islanders reporter this year. You've done a ton of one-on-ones. You've kind of had a lot of on-air, different kind of on-air and reporting experiences. I just want to hear, as you reflect on that time.
I mean, joining WFUV Sports has definitely been one of the best decisions I've made in college. Coming into Fordham, I was undeclared. I was in the Rose Hill College, and then I transferred into the Gabelli School. And even still throughout, I was late choosing my major, and I was really happy that I was in a class with Alex Wolves, and he was telling me about the program. And I mean, WFUV Sports has allowed me to be passionate about the things that I love, and just really be myself, and really show what I've been able to do. And geez, if I were to tell my freshman year self, even my junior year self, that I'd be going to NHL games for free, going in the press box and the locker rooms, I would not have believed it, because it's been a dream come true. Being able to do things that I would not have imagined it's been incredible. Being on air has been one of the best things ever, and just being able to chat on the podcast and on one-on-ones has been one of the genuinely the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
I think that is something that is going to be said a lot tonight, is just FUV is the best decision
Yeah.
we've ever made. And it's tough to think about FUV as a club, because it's so much more than that. One, because of how much time we put into the station. That shouldn't be understated, but also just how much people are dedicated to the station. And when I look at both of you, I mean, I think that's 100% reflected with both of you. Andrew, you started a podcast, the first hour you joined FUV. I feel like before I even knew anything about you, you were already spearheading, making merch, really going all in, which is a women's sports podcast, but going all in. Shout out, subtle plug. I won't be able to do that very much anymore, but starting Pound for Pound that early in your FUV career is something that I don't think I've ever actually seen before. So the initiative and just the dedication that you showed, just from the start, was absolutely incredible. And you took a graduate year, and I know we've talked, a lot of that was because you wanted to do another WFUV year, and I did the same exact thing. And that shouldn't be understated either, because staying an extra year of college, maybe not solely to do, but in part because you wanted to continue FUV, really highlights that dedication as well. So I just want to thank you for that. And also, like I said before, it's very hard to be good at hosting and production, and you've done both of those as well.
No, definitely.
So
I guess the biggest thing with me for WFUV is that I've always kind of had a passion for combat sports, as I've said earlier, but I never really knew how to pursue it, and I really didn't know how to break into that industry. I would always watch it on TV all the time and even go to the events and be like, this is so cool. I don't know how I can break into this and actually be a part of it. And WFUV has really allowed me to do that, and that's why I was so ambitious when I when I first got to the station. I wanted to do everything around combat sports, and I wanted to kind of take the station in new ways. And that's what's so great about WFUV. They have the opportunities and the pathways for you to be able to do that, and they're really, really encouraging of that. So I guess that was the biggest thing for me here at WFUV.
100%. And Michael, I remember when I first became sports manager, you were one of the first people to text being like, I really want to be more involved in the station this year. And I remember seeing that text and I was like, I'm excited for you to be more involved in the station this year. And you did exactly that. You know,
that was my goal.
It's one thing to like want to do something, but you know, your actions behind that really spoke volumes because you really made yourself available for just about anything. It's not easy to be a beat reporter for the Islanders of all teams. I mean, that is a commute. I don't know for people watching, if you're not from New York, that's a commute to make out to Long Island. I mean, you got a LIRR to
Metro. I think
let's hear the commute.
So I would leave if I want to get to a 7:30 start game. I'd leave at around 5 o'clock to get there at half an hour before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be taking one train, Metro North, then a subway, then another Long Island Railroad, then I'd switch to Jamaica, then another Long Island Railroad. But the thing is, I would do it every single time.
Yeah, how many games could you cover?
I would probably about 20, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to also take that back.
Yeah.
So that kind of dedication just to cover that team to begin with is absolutely incredible. And then also balancing, you know, one-on-one and all of that, and just not only balancing that, but being great at it. You've been an incredible on-air host. I just want to thank you for the dedication that you've showed as well.
I love this phrase, Julia. Thank you so much. And if the biggest toll that I have to take is taking a train to a hockey game, I'll do that any time.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad in the grand scheme of things, because oh my gosh, some of my buddies, they'd be like, "Dude, where are you going at 9 a.m.?" And I'm like, I'm gonna go be on the radio, bro.
Right.
Yeah. I'm doing cool stuff.
It's
You're
a
gonna
flex.
be sleeping until 3 p.m. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I'm happy that I became a part of this. It's been so great.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys one more time. I really, really appreciate the both of you more than I can actually put into words. But we are going to be joined next by Colin Loughran and Merrick Rhodes as they make their way in here. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Merrick with the Eagles, sweatshirt. I think would be more specific and accurate.
Had to hop on New York's longest running sports call-in show
Yeah,
in
with
my
the
Eagles merch
yeah.
one last time for the people.
Merrick's upset more than a handful of people with your sports.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a Tennessee fan, so at least when I have pro Tennessee, like, no one cares. Like,
It's not Philly.
I don't like the way you said
No.
that.
I didn't even mean it like that. I meant it more so in like New Yorkers hate Philly sports.
That's true. It's very true. Well, let's get into it because two very special people here. We've got Colin Loughran and Merrick Rhodes. Colin, Ryan Gregor said it best. You probably have broken the record for most one-on-ones anyone's ever even gotten close to reaching. So obviously that's a huge thing. You've called women's basketball, you've called men's basketball, you've called baseball, softball, probably like other sports that I can't think of, but I feel like that covered most of it.
Most of the bases for sure.
Exactly. And just as far as like a real deal journalist goes, like I don't think I've ever met someone so day one ready to like be a professional journalist. The reports that you do are absolutely incredible. And I don't want to get too deep into the everything of it, but because I want to give you the floor on what the past 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely feels like it's been longer. I mean, I transferred to Fordham during COVID and everything that was going on, and initially I wrote for the Ram, and I loved writing about sports. Clearly, I have a passion for it. Always have, always will. Never really thought I'd get into radio or talking about sports simply because that felt like something that ex-athletes did. It wasn't something for lay people to do. I mean, it's like that Seinfeld episode with George Costanza. Well, I could call baseball games. Well, George, they typically get people that have played the sport, so I didn't know it was an avenue. Now, I knew there was great broadcasters that came from Fordham, Michael Kay, Mike Breen, Yonkers native, Chris Carino, also from Yonkers originally. So I knew that was the history. I just didn't know if I was going to be able to fit within that history. And I've been blessed to be here for as long as I have and to do the amount of things that I've done, covering Knicks, covering Rangers, moments I'll never forget, Cooperstown trips as well. Just enormously blessed to have been a part of WFUV for as long as I have.
Absolutely. And Merrick joined a little bit later, but still has done quite a bit. One-on-one, you have absolutely crushed, even, albeit with sometimes sports opinions that anger people. Not me, because I'm not a New York sports fan, but I've always appreciated how you just completely wear that on your chest and you just do not care and you're just going to say what you mean. So in the nature of saying what you mean, as you look back at your FUV experience, what are your biggest takeaways?
I mean, I think it's pretty full circle because, my mock group, my two trainers are both here with Julia in here and then Lou back there producing, the people who helped build me up in WFUV. But I think it's just really the best thing about WFUV is the ability to do everything. And no one's going to tell you can't do something because when I first came in, I wasn't sure how long it was going to take before, you start getting on air and doing more things, and it's immediate. I mean, it's once you're through your mock trainings and once you have your bearings, you can really take it and run with it. And I remember my first one-on-one being so nervous. It was like a week or two after we finished mocks, and it went. I've had better one-on-ones, but it just goes to show that it's not like this program, it's so prestigious in the alumni and all the people who come through, but it's really just a hands-on experience and you get to do it all. And so I think that's the thing that I appreciate the most. And then obviously, of course, all the people here. I think I've done on-air stuff with almost every single person here and countless others that aren't here. So I'd say the two biggest things I can take away from WFUV is how hands-on they allow you to be and all the different things we're allowed to do here, as well as the people that we're able to do it with.
100%. And it's really hard to, I've said this 100 times with probably every person that's walked into this room, but it's hard to put into words the impact that both of you guys have had. I mean, I knew that we had a really good senior class, but it's taken this show to really make me realize, it is just incredible, the amount of stuff we've been able to do this year. And I can't thank both of you guys enough. I know, Colin, we have grown into such great friends throughout this WFUV experience, and I can't thank you enough for that friendship.
Well, I mean, it's been easy working here. I love what I do. People like you have made it a lot easier. People like Bobby. There's so many people to thank, Bobby being one of them, being a mentor. Alex Walls, Ryan Gregoire, people that thought maybe I had a little bit something to me and gave me the chance to go out there and prove it. My mother, my father, my grandparents as well. All big sports fans. I know I've spoken about that a lot on shows before. I'm not sitting here without that little bit of New York passion and fire to have with some of my takes. So really just with everything I've done here at FUV, the people I've met, Chris Persian and Miles Grossman, everyone I've worked with on men's basketball crew, I could not be more grateful for that experience, for this experience as a whole.
Yeah, and I hope I've curved some people's thoughts on the Philly sports fan.
You're respectful.
But yeah, I think I'm really appreciative of the people I've met and the friendships I'll continue to hold. And I mean, there's just so many reliable people here that you can contact them morning, day, night. And if you have any questions or any worries or anything you're worried about, you can reach out to anyone, even if it's not Bobby or Julia at the top. You could reach out to one of your friends if you're not really sure what to do for a show or if you're nervous about going into a production like producing. It's just everybody's really reliable, and I'm really appreciative for the friendships that will carry over after we graduate.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. We are going to be joined next by Brian Raybacks and Maddie Bamonte as I give them the signal to come in. What's up, fellas? How are we doing?
Oh, we're chilling.
We're chilling.
We were actually just taking selfies outside of the studio.
Oh, yeah?
Documenting the last time entering Studio 3.
Yeah.
As a FUV student, I'm sure both of you guys will be back, but
I'll be around.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Well, let's get into it because both of you guys have been a huge part of my FUV journey and have been there really from the beginning. Because when I joined FUV, I didn't know a single person in New York City, much less Fordham University, and you guys were two of the first people that I met. But Brian, producer, on-air host, broadcaster, reporter, I was trying to think of what the last of the 4 was. There's nothing that you haven't done, nothing that you haven't done incredibly well. As you look back on your 4 years, you're a 4-year student here at FUV. What are your thoughts and takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I always knew coming into Fordham that I wanted to do FUV. I ended up meeting with Bobby my senior year of high school to really kind of see the studio and what it was all about. And when he kind of gave me the whole pitch and the sales of it, I was like, okay, I'm sold. I'm here. And yeah, it was tricky initially with COVID. Just everything was so weird being on Zoom. And yeah, the freshman class at the time just wasn't really, there weren't a lot of people joining. Bridge and Chris I've known since then, so they've kind of been trooping through it with me. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. I came in here thinking I would be, an on-air personality, and that's about it. Like, that's what I want to focus on. And along the lines, like junior year, and I might credit you to this, I found out, wow, producing's actually really fun. So I'm glad that I got to have that for a while and really like enjoy myself, like producing one-on-ones and producing games as like high stress as they can be sometimes. It's really like fun to get to know the inner workings of that, and I had a blast doing it. And of course, beat reporting the Yankees was just an absolute dream come true. I've been a Yankee fan my whole life, and honestly, just like getting the text from Alex Wohl saying, hey, do you want to beat report the Yankees? It was awesome. I'm incredibly grateful I got to enjoy that for 2 years. It was a great experience, and there's just a lot of great things that FUV provided that I will absolutely never forget, and I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful.
And as we turn over to our neighborhood Mets beat reporter, on-air host, has dabbled in production, has dabbled in all of it. So
I dipped my hands in it.
Exactly. And you've been here for 3 years. I've been here for 3 years. So I know that even though it wasn't that full 4 years, and I can't really say anybody's had like a full 4 years because of that year before was the COVID
Doesn't
completely.
count. No.
Exactly. So we were all on the same playing field if you ask me.
Just like the Dodgers World Series win didn't count.
Right.
Exactly. So as you look at your last 3 years and your experience at FUV, what are your takeaways?
I think honestly, when I came to college at my start, because we both experienced transferring and went through that, and when I was at my last school, I was honestly terrified to join the newspaper. It was like really in depth. It was like a really well-run newspaper. I was not confident that like I did it in high school. I didn't think I would be good at writing or whatever when I came to it. And then I just did something in radio. I like found their student radio station at the time, and I was on a pop culture roundtable talk show. It was great.
That sounds right.
Honestly, yeah, I was talking my talk. It was like being on Twitter every day, so I had a lot of fun. And so when I came here, I knew nobody. I didn't know anybody in New York City. I just kind of like was on a whim here, and I first went to the Fordham Ram to a staff meeting, and there I met Alex, and Alex told me off the bat about WFUV. And I was intrigued, and I was nervous really at first because I had done it, but I wasn't too sure about it because I grew up liking sports. I grew up being a solo girl in my dad's household, and he had nobody to yap to but me about this stuff. So I just kind of picked it up, and it was genuinely one of the best decisions I made. I met so many wonderful people, both of you. I met Taylor, I met Sam, I met Lou, I met Jack, I met everybody, and so many more people at this station that I've worked with, that I've talked to, that I've done anything with. It's been truly so memorable, every single thing I've been a part of, whether it was my first podcast for FUVFC, which I don't know why that was my first I don't know, to being a regular on Nosebleeds, to doing episodes on NFL Friday, to doing College Grid, to doing everything. It truly, like, has made me, I think, a better person to just not only in the sports world, but just like the Fordham community. Like I wouldn't be where I am today without the people that I've met here. And I think it means a lot to me, and hopefully means a lot to everybody else too.
100%. And I think for the both of you in particular, when you look at, next year, I think some of the first people you look at when you're like, oh wow, we won't have them. I think you two are two of those first people that I think you think about when you're like, man, there won't be Maddie, there won't be Brian.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, we started together in the same mock
from
group.
Training. Let that be a lesson. Like, you can become great friends with the people that you train with. And me, you, Eli, Sam, Taylor, Group A, the A team, till the end.
A team.
Right?
Yeah, right. Right.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lifelong friends. FUV has given me so much, and I'm so grateful for the people that I've met here. It's been a blast. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we have 2 more people left. We only have 7 minutes to go. Thank you guys once again. We're going to have Chris Persianen and Miles Grossman finishing it off with us here. I love the energy already coming in with Miles.
Yeah.
Well, as Chris makes his way in here,
Yes, sir.
we're going to have to speed round this a little bit. Bobby Chaffardini has already been in my ear telling me we have to get off right at 2, so let's
Nearing
get going
the
with
2
this.
a.m. hour.
Nearing the 2. I mean, the show just completely flew by. But 2 obviously men's basketball broadcasters, 2 NBA reporters. I think it's fitting you guys being last because I think, first of all, your relationship, your friendship that's grown this year has been just incredible to watch from an outsider's perspective. And, you know, your broadcasts have been great together. You're both 2 people who have kind of done it all, reporting, broadcasting, being on podcasts. Chris, we can start with you. As you look back on your time at FUV, you know, what has that experience meant to you?
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys know I'll talk into a rock looking at a brick wall for 4 hours, right? Like having a home for my voice, for my takes, as I like to say.
Get them off.
Getting them off has been everything, right? Like from when I was in high school, taking a college class because my mom made me. So I signed up for some sports broadcasting class at a local university taught by R. Chaffardini, and I was like, we'll see what this entails, you know? And getting asked to stay after the class on my last day and being like, I failed that final paper. And he was like, Chris, you know, I think you should, you know, come here to Fordham and continue your studies here. I'd love to work with you, you know, and that meant everything, right? Because when someone believes in you, that's not you, that's enough. Because you should be enough, right? And so for Bobby to believe in me was everything. Coming here, working from freshman year, you know, everything on Zoom. Nick DeLuca, E-Man, everyone, you know, Roche doing one-on-ones on Zoom. Sophomore year, I got my first like big gig, Thomas Aiello, big shout out. Pre-game shows for women's basketball. Worked my way to studio host. Junior year, I studio hosted women's pretty much all year, begging for reps. So please God, let me on the air. I got a couple games, some with Miles at the end of my junior year. And then senior year
St. Bonnie's
being the infamous being on the men's crew senior year was a dream come true. Beat reporting the Knicks junior and senior year was a dream come true. And that's all because of FUV Sports. And like it's cool because I didn't wake up when I was like 14 and was like, oh, one day I'm going to go to Fordham and I'm going to like I never, you know, this wasn't like a childhood dream for me. I just wanted to do the big things, go to the Super Bowl, etc. And because of FUV, it all was possible in one place. I'm so thankful. Ryan Gregware, Alex Wolves, my parents, Emma, just so many amazing support systems.
Absolutely. And Miles, I know we only have a few minutes left, but I definitely want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, nearing 2 a.m., so I won't make it too long. But yeah, WFUV was the reason why I came to Fordham. I say that all the time. I was leaving Pasadena City College. I went there for a year and a half. I took a light course load in my second semester sophomore year during the COVID era, and then was looking to transfer to a 4-year. And then Fordham was really stuck out because of FUV. Came here and I met Alex and Bobby, Alex Wolves, of course, and Bobby, and it's really been, you know, never looked back. I mean, I didn't know really coming here that I was going to be into broadcasting the way I was, but it's been my passion for a couple of years now, and it's provided some unbelievable opportunities. Like it's weird to sit here and know that it's done. Like I remember, you know, just joining with Alex Wolves and Nick DeLuca, of course, were like the 1-2 punch at the top, and now it's weird knowing that those guys are years out of the program and we are the senior members. But yeah, I just can't say enough about, you know, what Bobby's done as a mentor. I know I get to work games now at LIU and Rutgers and a few other schools, and it was all about that first connection. I filled in for Greg Caserta at LIU via Bobby. You know, that Bobby was the connector there. And then I filled in for Drew Casey at Stevens. Bobby was the connector there. And then I filled in for Gigi Spear at Rutgers. And she was filling in for Maria Travelpiece or Trivelpiece. I think we've gotten it wrong the whole time because I saw it on. But yeah, just every connection that I've built has been through FUV. I didn't have any family in this industry. Every single connection I have is just because of Bobby and FUV, and can't say enough about what this year has meant. Getting to travel with the men's basketball team, just what that Division I travel life is like. Me and Chris getting to go down to the Virgin Islands and call basketball games. We called a game at Madison Square Garden. My dad got to tell me call a game at Madison Square Garden. It was unbelievable. Yeah, just can't say enough about what this program has done, and I'm just so grateful for Bobby and everything. I want to say this before I go. Joe Henry is my hot prospect to look out for. Lou Orlando. I want to fast track to the top for Joe Henry.
Well, I am not going to get too sappy here because I've about a month left before I officially leave WFUV, and I'm not going to get too sappy mostly because I'm looking at the clock as it ticks down from 30 seconds. I wouldn't have time to even if I needed to, but I can't thank these seniors enough. I'm going to name them all by names. Chris Shepard, Andy Rodriguez, Michael Matuch, Merrick Rhodes, Andrew Craneri, Ralph Barbieri, Bridge Gotham, Matty Bamonte, Brian Ravax, Chris Persianen, Colin Lochran, and Miles Grossman. I can't thank each and every one of you guys enough. If you missed any portion of this show, you can find it on our YouTube page. Bobby Chaffardini is the sports director of WFUV. I'm Julia Moss signing off. One on One is a production of WFUV Sports.
It's WFUV New York, public media from Fordham University. Come for the music and stay for the community. Listen at 90.7 FM or at WFUV.org.